you looking for a high-quality education provider? Are you looking for an educational institution that is 100% focused on Black history? Well, you have come to the right place. At AE Learning, we provide exceptional African history education, training, resources and courses to an international customer base. At AE Learning, our e-learning courses deliver high-quality content and support teachers and students alike, ensuring that they have what they need to achieve their learning goals. Go to aelearning.net to select from our comprehensive library of multimedia e-learning courses. Our courses come complete with tutorials from our African history teachers. Within our e-learning courses, you'll also benefit from high-quality videos to assist in your learning. Throughout our courses, quizzes and examinations are provided so you can test your knowledge. A generous library of downloadable resources complements your learning, and in addition, there are materials to read through. Go to aelearning.net to learn more. AE Learning, your source for quality African history education.
Peace, fam. We are live again. Donnie Samir, Search for Huru. Thank you all. Thank you so much for joining. Hit that like button again. Please hit that like button. Also, make sure you share and make sure you subscribe. I will greatly appreciate it. You know, I love y'all. Thank you so much for the support. Got a couple of announcements before we jump into today's topic. Sierra Leone citizenship is back on for Sierra Leone. If you're interested, please visit danfo.africa. Again, please visit Danfo, that's DANFO .Africa to learn more. I am taking another group in December. Again, I'm taking another group in December. So if you want to come, if you want to join us in Sierra Leone, and again, citizenship is back on the table. Reach out. I'll share with you the requirements to get citizenship in Sierra Leone. And yeah, come and join us. We're also going to Senegal end of this month for the Jazz Festival, Nigeria in August for the Oshun Festival, Zanzibar in September for Safari Blue, Namibia and South Africa in November, and then Sierra Leone in December. So if you're interested in joining, please visit danfo.africa, and also make sure you buy the documentary as well. Guys, click that documentary link up there and buy the documentary. Let's jump into today's topic. And you know, we've been discussing this before in regards to the identity issues within the Black community. We went from Black, we African, to now we the Native American, Indian, Moor, Hebrews. But I want to play this clip. And I'll put the link in the chat room in around well, Black Viking. If you want your citizenship, visit visit danfo.africa. You know, I'll share with you the process. Again, visit danfo.africa, and I'll share with you the hold on, there's this oh, come on, where's this at? Where's this at? Oh, where's this video at? But what I'll do, I'll go ahead and put the link in the chat room if you guys want to call in. Here we go, right here. Here we go, right here. This is what I want right here. This is what I'm looking for. Hold on, let me. Y'all remember this? Y'all remember this right here?
And I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna end mine.
Y'all remember this right here?
And I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna end mine. If you ain't down for the Africans here in the United States, period, point blank, if you ain't down for the ones that suffered in South Africa from apartheid and shit, damn it, you need to step your punk ass to the side and let us brothers and us Africans step in and start putting some foot in that ass.
That's what they told us today. In other words, you're still a slave. No matter how much money you got, you still ain't shit.
I'm gonna tell you right now, if I have to die today for this little African right here to have a future, I'm gonna go. And I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna end mine. If you ain't down for the Africans here in the United States, period, point blank, if you ain't down for the ones that suffered in South Africa from apartheid and shit, damn it, you need to step your punk ass to the side and let us brothers and us Africans step in and start putting some foot in that ass.
That's what they told us today. In other words, you're still a slave. No matter how much money you got, you still ain't shit.
I'm gonna tell you right now, if I have to die today for this little African, to die today for this little African, to die today for this little African right here to have a future, I'm a dead motherfucker. And I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna end mine. If you ain't down for the Africans here in the United States, period, point blank, if you ain't down for the ones that suffered in South Africa from apartheid and shit, damn it, you need to step your punk ass to the side and let us brothers and us Africans step in and start putting some foot in that ass.
That's what they told us today. In other words, you're still a slave. No matter how much money you got, you still ain't shit.
I'm gonna tell you right now, if I have to die today for this little African right here to have a future, I'm a dead motherfucker.
Yo, we were proudly repping Africa from the medallions. Again, from the medallions, the conscious music, X-Clan. We was rocking African medallions, Onks, X t-shirts. Peter, why don't you come to Nigeria with me in August? You Yoruba, come to Nigeria with me. Come to Nigeria with me in August, Peter. We was on that Africa stuff hard. X shirts, Africa medallions, calling ourselves Africans. But then what happened? Now we Hebrews. We the Moors. Not saying they were the Moors back then. We the Native American Choctaw. What happened? I mean, that clip right there would not have hit as hard if he was like, yeah, if you ain't down with the Hebrews or if you ain't down with the Choctaw here in America, like it would have hit as hard. Again, it wouldn't have hit as hard, that clip. If you ain't down with the Moors here, it wouldn't. There's something about saying if you ain't down with the Africans here in America. So yeah, but guys, listen, I'm gonna put the link in the chat room. I'll put the link in the chat room if you want to call in and add to the conversation. You're more than welcome to click on a link and add to the conversation. I got another video I want to try to find. Hold on. Here we go, right here. Here we go. Here's another one. Yeah, here's another one. Hold on. Here's another one. All right, go ahead, Dave. Go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, I'm here. What changed is, you gotta understand. Can you hear me?
I hear you. Go ahead. Dave.
Yeah. So what changed is pretty much Africa is liberated. It's all they all running their own countries, whether it's good or bad. But what we saw was, you know, I don't know if colonization is the right word, but at that point in time, we wasn't. We was in solidarity with, hey man, let these get out, you know, let them be free. You know what I'm saying? So what the reason why it really died down is because those goals were achieved.
Well, Dave, this was the 90s. Colonization ended in the 60s.
Well, I'm talking about apartheid.
Okay.
Like you got to understand what them brothers was talking about. They was talking about a very specific issue, singular, almost singular, and that was pretty much the South African apartheid. You know, that because I remember all of that. That was our main thing. Like, yo, that's bogus. You know, that's unjust. So, you know, once Mandela got out, then Winnie, and then we see the whole continent of pretty much, you know, self-determination. You know, we you know, we felt like, all right, all of that is all good. Not all good. You know, they got things to work out. You know, but that's their business. You know what I'm saying? And then we focused more going, you know, we had our issues in the 90s, but going into the 2000s and now, you know, what we really got on was money. You know, that was pretty much the focus if you really even look at the whole culture. But we never it was like, you know, we never said, oh man, screw them now. It was more or less like, all right, it's on you now. You know what I'm saying? Y'all got to pull it together for yourself on that part. And even right now, the connection's still there, but it's got to be an economic. You already know what I'm finna say, so I'm finna just say that for last, Dynas. I say the same thing every rip, but I'm done.
Okay. Go ahead, Dre.
So yeah, as far can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Oh, okay. So as far as like us used to see ourselves as being African, yeah, back during the 90s, of course, you know, more black people were more Pan-Africanist, and you know, of course, they didn't really have the information about disaggregation or you know being specific about their lineage. A lot of times it was like, oh, we're all just one African people. But I think once we have developed more, once our people have done more research on our lineage, once they have you know started to do things more politically, then they started to say, okay, let's break this down a little bit more than just saying we're just African, you know, because of course that's a broad word. So I think that's the reason why things have evolved over time, is because of the fact that we have access to more information than we used to. And I also think you know, some do have an identity crisis as far as like saying that they're Choctaw Indians or saying that they're Native Americans, but not everybody who is, I guess you could say FBA, ADOS, actually attach themselves to the Native American identity. That's usually a lot of the people from FBA, though not ADOS, but from FBA, that say that they are Aboriginal and stuff like that. That's nothing that ADOS really associates with, but I think a lot of times people conflate the two because of the lineage, but it's not really quite the same in that way. And I also would like to say that during the, I guess you could say, you said that apartheid happened in what, the 60s?
No, apartheid ended in the 90s, but
It ended in the 90s, but it started in the 60s.
Colonialism across the continent, for the most part, ended in the 60s.
Oh, okay.
I remember the Mandela thing and why we was all like, nah, we ain't having that. I remember that vividly. Michael Jackson was even, man, I think Michael Jackson was singing songs about, man, we was on that. That's the reason. That's why it hit a zenith where you were seeing stuff like what you were showing, Dynas. We were specifically saying, y'all got to stop that, you know, that apartheid stuff. And then once we saw that, you know, y'all pretty much was able to, granted the money and all that wasn't there, but once that was the most issue. And so that's why it died down, in my opinion.
Dre, are you finished?
I also would like to make another point as far as like why we don't really see ourselves as African in the sense of just being generic, a generic African, I would like to say is because, of course, we know, I say this all the time, we're an amalgamation. We're not just one ethnic group. We're not just one race. You know, I know that's the majority of our DNA and things like that. But of course, what you are genetically is different than what you are nationality wise. And also, too, we know that most people identify with nationality first and tribe, and then they identify with maybe the ethnicity last. But I think a lot of times when FBA, I guess you could say FBA or ADOS, identifies as being American first, we get more backlash because America, the stigma behind America is usually, oh, they're imperialistic. You're representing, capitalism. That's usually the sentiment behind identifying as being American. But when a Nigerian identifies as being Nigerian, nobody gives them backlash. When a Jamaican identifies as being Jamaican, nobody gives them backlash. So that is the reason why I said that I think the smoke is not for everybody. It's only for Black Americans when we say that we are American first and then we happen to have African ancestry. Okay, somebody else can go.
Hello, Dennis. Hello, Dennis.
Yeah, go ahead, Lewis.
Yeah, hello, guys. A nice topic again. I think the theme you showed is beautiful. Like I've said before on this show, I once had the privilege of seeing Winnie Mandela being presented before an audience in Brixton, and there was a standing ovation for about 25 minutes. We counted, me and my friend, Jamaican brother, we counted. In those days, we knew no matter where you're from, if you was Black, you was an African. And then the other places you may be in the world came second. But the base was always African. Whether you're from Nigeria, Uganda, South Africa, Jamaica, whatever, you was African first. America and Britain and all the other countries were the ones who were doing our oppression. So we always knew who the enemy was. So we identified first as African Americans, those of us in America. Today, there is a deliberate attempt to reverse that and put Africa out of the way and just put America there. Now, those who want to do that, fair enough. The question I've got for you is, as someone who is connected to you, whether you like me or not, what are you getting out of America? That's my question for you. If you want to delineate, no problem, by all means, go ahead.
Is that question for me or is it for any Black American?
It's for all those who want to delineate. We can't force anybody to be African. But what
I'll
I'm saying
answer after you, Dre.
Right. What I'm saying is that you are doing exactly what our enemy wanted you to do. Always. And this is the first generation that's doing that. I don't see the reason
so you said delineation, right? You mentioned the word delineation.
Yeah,
FBA is the one that uses the word delineation, whereas ADOS, they use the word disaggregation. Disaggregation is different than delineation.
ADOS is just the same coon group as FBA, as far as I'm concerned.
No, they're not.
You call yourself that, I'm walking that way. I don't care what your reasons are. Because the lady who termed ADOS she hates Africans with a passion.
That's a myth. That's actually a lie.
Yvette Carnell hates African. If you don't know that, then I don't know what world you're living in. She hates Africans.
I've never heard her badmouth Africans. I never heard her say tethers. I've never heard her.
I thought, my friend, are you having a laugh with me? Do you know who the person we're talking about? Anybody can pull her stuff on YouTube.
I watched her videos.
Dre.
You don't believe in cloud.
Go ahead and give an example. Give an example because maybe it's.
Hold on, Dre. When Black Panther first came out, Yvette Carnell went on a whole tirade, anti-African tirade on Africa over Black Panther. Like
even before that,
it was deranged, just a whole deranged tirade.
Thank you.
Anti-African.
That's it. And her and that guy Tone, whatever he is,
because she was triggered. Because she was triggered.
Well, that's because they were villainizing the Black American in Black Panther.
Bro,
they were villainizing the Black American in that movie.
Before that, this woman, she's a lesbian in a way. That's what she is, right? And maybe she hates Africans because Africans don't like that sort of thing. I don't know, but whatever it is, she is enemy strike number one. The second one, who's doing this and who should know better, he's only doing this, and I think it's gone out of hand. He's obviously Tariq Nasheed. Now, if you want to call yourself by ADOS or FBA or none of them because you recognize that as we get together as black people, you want something to identify yourself by, I think African American is a very respectable name. But if you're going to give yourself a name to say, okay, this is what we are, you're Ghanaian, you're this, but this is what we are, no problem. I don't have a problem with that. But the rich culture that is African American, to think of all the greats that I looked up to, from the sports such as Muhammad Ali to Ed Moses to Carl Lewis, Louis Armstrong, all the greats, many more. This is actually just in entertainment and in politics as well. Why would you want to reduce your people to a name given to you by a lesbian on YouTube and a hustler called Tariq Nasheed? Why would you want to demean yourself like that?
I mean, we are American. We can't deny that, though. I don't understand your point.
Listen, we know you're American. We know that.
I mean, aren't you from Britain? I mean, your accent sounds like you're from the UK.
Hey, guys, hey, Luke, guys, let me pass the mic to Afro Man because I want to go ahead, Afro Man. Unmute yourself, Afro Man.
Yes, hello. Can you all hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Good evening, good afternoon, peace, everyone. The way I see it, the answer is pretty clear and pretty simple. There was a time when Black Americans had very, very sound scholarship. You had people like Ivan Van Sertima, Chancellor Williams, you had Dr. Ben, you had Cheikh Anta Diop from Senegal, and these were the scholars that had the minds and hearts of the people. Somehow, somewhere, at a certain point in time, Black America decided to let go of all of these sound scholars and went for what I would call ghetto scholarship. When you put aside the scholarship of Chancellor Williams, Cheikh Anta Diop, and people who are actually experts in the field of history and African history, and you rather now pick up books from Sa-Neter Hotep, Ra Imra Zulu, and what Shabazz, okay, that destroyed the whole Black Afrocentric movement. And see, that's how you have people talking about we're not from Africa, we are Native Americans. You see, that's unsound scholarship. That is scholarship that goes against facts, DNA studies, history, logic, mathematics, archaeology, history. Okay,
I think you're trying to conflate me saying we're American with being Native American. I never said we were Native American. I just said we were American by nationality.
Yeah, no, that's you, Dre. That's you. Go ahead, Afro Man.
Thank you. I'm not even speaking to you. I'm speaking in general terms. Okay, when we moved away from sound scholarship and embraced ex-cons and convicts and high school dropouts.
Afro Man, I'll add another one. Brother Polite.
Exactly. Exactly.
Even Brother Polite don't deny.
Brother Polite.
Brother Polite came along with that Africa work.
Hold on. Go ahead, Afro Man. Go ahead.
Yes. So that's the problem too. That's the crux of the matter. You are not going to get people looking towards Africa when the scholarship that they are embracing most foolishness. And until we go back to sound scholarship, you're going to have African Americans telling you that they are native Eskimos, they are native Vikings, they are native Americans, they are native Martians, they are the children of Anunnaki from Jupiter. I mean, listen, it is a whole mess, and we have to embrace sound scholarship. That's my opinion. Thank you.
No, go ahead, Willie.
I mean, and I'm gonna see how long how fast I can get you to cut me off, Dynas, right? But it's very, very simple, right? Two things changed. One, everything we fundamentally believed in about Pan-Africanism and all of that stuff, right, was what allowed us to be fooled by the polites and everything else. That continent worship, it didn't work out for us, right? But the biggest thing was when you look at the difference between that brother that's talking about if you're not gonna, stand up for the Africans, step your punk ass to the side, right? What happened since then was we actually started to know Africans here, in particular in America, right? So now, once these, I can't even say relationships were created because we never really had any relationship. So we had this love, right, for a parent continent that in reality, when we really met them here, we realized they had no love for us. They weren't looking to build with us. They were looking to build their own thing, separate from us.
That's your experience.
Hold on, let me finish. They disrespect our ancestors by saying Black Americans didn't do nothing for us to be here. It was the white man that let us come in this country. Like if they came in 1955, they wouldn't get strung up from a tree, right? So the reality is, we actually started to interact with Africans that come here to America. Now, what I tell people all the time is don't draw your final judgment from that, because a lot of them that come over here are the sellouts to their own people, right? But that's how we got here. And once Black people started to let go of that Africa worship, right? Now they're just trying to figure out whoever they are. And they're throwing a bunch of stuff at the wall to see what sticks.
That's not true,
I
brother.
know you can't tell
It
me.
is like a religion.
I am
Pan-Africanism is like a religion.
And see, it's that attitude that y'all can tell us anything, right? With all due respect, y'all countries don't have the GDP to be able to tell me nothing.
Here we go.
You don't define who we are.
Can I follow up?
We allowed to define that.
Sorry, Dynas. Could I just say something? Listen, we knew what the aim of our enemy was in the past. They've studied us and they have seen that Pan-Africanism is the most effective tool that Black people have uniting.
Not Black Americans.
They've seen it with us and the Caribbeans. They've seen it with us and the African Americans.
Black Americans benefited nothing from Pan-Africanism. Nothing.
Hello, brother.
I mean, you cut me off, so I didn't land yet. But
let Willie finish. Go ahead, Willie.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just saying, even in that conversation about Pan-Africanism, I say it all the time. It was not a two-way street. We loved, we worshiped, we hung Nelson Mandela on our walls, we worshiped Kwame Nkrumah and all these people. And then those same Nigerians, those same people from Ghana, they get here and they wouldn't even spit on us.
Rubbish.
Yeah, that's what happened. That's what happened in America.
Can I make this comment, Dynas, real quick? You on mute.
My bad. You gotta let Willie finish if Willie's done.
Nah, I landed.
All right, okay. Let me pass the Wildflower, then I'll pass it back to you, Dave.
Yeah.
But, okay, I got a point I got to make.
Hi there. Hi, Dynasty. Hi, good afternoon, good evening. So, hi, panel. So what happened? A lot of things. In the beginning, there was a lot of interest in Africa, and obviously that was like not many migrants from Africa moving to America. So there was less contact, I guess. But when the real contact happened, it wasn't, people just felt slightly different. Obviously, I'm not in the USA to comment because I'm not. But I can just say that from what I've heard, that there was just culture clash and lack of understanding of, different histories. I know some people from the USA are not familiar with all the histories in Africa. The different, we kind of see ourselves as more what your lineage is, like what your ethnic background is before our Blackness. And I kind of see that in America, because people kind of forgot their ethnic lineage through slavery, unfortunately, they're more around, they kind of gathered around the skin complexion, which actually makes sense because they had so many people from different African areas and so on. So Africans, they come in and they're more like, you know, I am from this tribe or this ethnic group. And the African Americans, they're more like, no, we're black, you know. And there is that sort of like not understanding where they're coming from, you know, that they've had to create this culture, this identity around skin color, which is fine. And then the Africans are like, no, we're from this, you know, group and we have our culture ways and we're not really black or we don't identify. This has caused a lot of friction and it's made a lot of African Americans kind of distant themselves. And then the Africans also, you know, distance themselves. But I think with the Black Panther film, that kind of really helped people sort of get interested in Africa again. And it was no longer just sort of like that embarrassing place, you know. And obviously a lot of African Americans have also taken a lot of interest, like yourself, Dynasty, just going to Africa and showing what it's really like, you know, on the ground. And really just kind of lifting the veil. That's not this mysterious place. There's people that are living there, just like everyday life, you know, wanting similar dreams, get married, get a car, go to school. That really made it less mysterious, you know, away from the charity adverts. And people are like, oh, okay, I can go there on holiday. And, you know, it's not so scary and dangerous. And I think that's really helped with time. But yeah, and you know, the friction that's happened is kind of a new thing anyway. This sort of like very hostile attitude. It's more like on the social media side or on the internet. It's really, you know, obviously people have agendas. I don't know who those people are. I can't really name them, but they kind of feed off when Black people from different areas of the world are not getting on. You know, that's kind of quite profitable. You know, and unfortunately, we buy into it, but I try to see the big picture because there are people pulling the strings, and there is money to be made from, you know, from us not getting on, not being focused on what we're trying to achieve as a group, and you know. But that's it. Yeah.
All right, go ahead, Dave. Go ahead, Dave. I'm gonna pass it to Liberian girl. Go ahead, Dave.
In my opinion, we dropped the ball because we arguing over what the past generation, they accomplished it. They accomplished their goal. Our goal was to do business. I'm from Chicago, right? All the races here don't take no stuff. All of this stuff that y'all talking about online, it doesn't really translate on the ground. When it comes to everything, all we want to know is you could, in this day and age, it's like 2.0. You really can't be coming talking Pan-African and everything like that unless you got some business attached to it. We trying to make paper. I'm just trying to be serious like that. And that's why it's stalled, because that's the 2.0 that our generations have to get to is to where it's business now.
But Dave, Dave, let me interject. I'm gonna be honest. Like in these circles with people, with serious business people, they're not going to take you serious as far as doing business if you ain't trying to go to Africa. Like I know people who won't even open up the door, who are influential. If they ask you, have you been to Africa before? You say no, but they're just going to look at you and laugh. That's just the reality.
And that's what I'm saying. The what you're talking about cannot be, because you're leaving 90% of the money on the table.
That's not because other groups of people are actually going to Africa and doing business. Yeah. But then we have this segment of people who are like, I ain't going over there, but I'll do business. I
just want to make one reply.
That's because they're a third world
exactly to that point, and I'm gonna mute and let y'all continue. But we're the only group that says that. If a Korean wants to do business with Korea, they don't have to go there. They got that network in that country to say, all right, we got these chambers to get it done.
Koreans are going to Korea, Dave. What are you talking about?
I'm just saying, if I was Korean, the Koreans would, my group wouldn't tell me, look, man, you ain't even serious unless you're going over there. They'll say,
but Koreans are going over there, Dave. What are you talking about?
But every one of them,
they got a whole airline called Korean Air that's like direct from LA to.
You're right. You want a travel agency type of connection. I'm talking about a business connection.
Yeah. Listen, guys, if I can just say, Dynasty, do you remember the day? Right. You know what made me turn on to your channel? We was all watching the Sinetta and all the debates and whatever. You was one of the first people that said, F it. You got on a plane, you went down to the Dogon, you was on the ground in Africa. When that started going off and people saw other people going there, we see in Africa now, people going there doing business. When it became a reality, all of a sudden, they started attacking Pan-Africanism. Because now we were putting to work what was not being done before. It was expensive to travel before. But now, people like you and others are going back home, they're settling, they're doing all sorts of stuff. All of a sudden, up pop Yvette Carnell. Then Tariq Nasheed swapped. Listen, let's not keep our eye off from our enemy. This is, I'm telling you, you will see later on, this is a CIA plan operation to keep
let me Liberian. Go ahead, Liberian girl.
Oh, good afternoon. Good afternoon, panel. Good afternoon,
Good afternoon.
This is Willa.
Hey, Willa.
I was trying to type Congo Liberian girl, but it was too long.
In fact, Willa, hold on one second, Willa. Willie. So Willa, who's on, like Willie, listen, Willie, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
So, and this has been my experience with Africans. Now, Willa's Liberian. Willa reached out to me years ago. I said, Willa, I want to go to Liberia. Can I crash at your family's house? She said, no problem. And I stayed at her family's house for a week in Monrovia, in Painesville. They fed me every day, took care of me. And that's been my overall experience with Africans. Africans will reach out to me. Hey, Donis, I love what you're doing. Hey, I'm going to Kumasi. You got somewhere I can crash? Absolutely, Donis. You can stay at my mom. They'll pick you up from the airport. That's been my experience. Are just Africans I come in contact with just every day.
But here's my thing, right?
Let me do this. Let me pass it to Willa, and I'll pass it back to you. Go ahead, Willa.
Okay, just to introduce myself, I am 67 years old this year. I have been traveling between Liberia and the United States since I was 15 years old. I'm a so-called Congo, or the people that I hear people berate on this channel a lot, so-called Americo-Liberian. I have lived through several generations, and I told you my age just so that you know that I have lived through, and I haven't lived passively. I come from a family that was incredibly politically involved. Since I could read and write, I was introduced to Voice of America, BBC. I'm just giving you my background. I come directly from people who were descendants of the slaves that settled in Liberia. I've always been politically aware since I was a toddler. I've always had interest in politics, geography, everything. I've known African Americans since, again, I was in high school. That's my background. There were African Americans coming to Liberia, young, not just older, but younger people who were my age who came with their families to Liberia, interacted with them. I think I told this story on Dinus's channel before. The Grambling College Band, from Louisiana, I think that's what they were from, Louisiana, came to Liberia when I was I think I was a senior in high school, junior, senior. And all of the young men, the American young men, tall, handsome, big afros, were all over Liberia having a good time. And they were impressed with the fact that Liberians knew so much about America, and they were impressed by the hospitality we gave them, so forth and so on. I said all of that to come to now. I came to America to school at the age of 19 in Boston, Massachusetts. Boston, Massachusetts was having the biggest race riots going on at the time that I came during the busing. So I'm just giving you that to tell you that. So I've lived between the United States and Liberia for all of these years. As Dinah's told you, my family still lives there. I have land there. I go back, I go visit, I come back, I go visit, I come back. So I know the Americas and I know West Africa mostly. I'm familiar with the rest of Africa, but I know West Africa quite well. Now, coming back to the subject, and I'm sorry for the long introduction, but the group, the generation of African Americans now, let's say people who I'm noticing in their mid 30s, or no, 40s and below, are not really, what's the word, fully educated on the history of what has happened during these years between Africans and African Americans. There's a big gap. I listen to this program quite regularly, and there's a huge gap in the education and a lot of misinformation on both sides. It's on both sides. It's not either or if, or when. All of these things you're talking about, they're not new. When I came to Boston, after a month, when I came, I knew actually at that time, I was going to an all-white school. I was one of 2 people in the whole school. We're talking 1977. At that time, Boston was like, there were neighborhoods that people couldn't go into. When I finally got my student visa to come at the embassy in Monrovia, the guy who stamped my passport was of Irish descent. And he said to me, "Oh, you're going to Boston. It's a beautiful city. But I just remember this. There's a place called South Boston. Don't ever go there." Well, he didn't even have to tell me, because when I landed in, there was this huge thing going on all over TV. But so I have lived through all of these different times in America. There are Africans who are very, very aware of the American situation. They're educated, they're exposed, and they know the history. The Africans that are coming, and I will tell you personally, the people that came before me who migrated to this country, up to, let's see, I think it was up until the late mid-90s. Yeah. Well, very informed, very much aware. The group of Africans that have come after come from a whole, not just a different generation, but a different, excuse me, I don't know what other word to use. I can just say class, a different class of people, most of them, because a lot of them have come from the new emerging middle class. So they come from families who didn't have that education and knowing the history, and so they have no clue. So they enter the United States, and all they see is wealth. They see, the big cars, the money, and their focus. And you also have to remember, they have 10 family members at home. Their focus is, oh, you've landed in America, you've hit the lottery, send us money. So most of these people you're talking about, they come to this country and they're going to school, working a job, because every month, guess what? If they make $500, a third of that is going home consistently. And so they have to constantly keep up this, a lot of them, they don't have to, but it's the culture. They have to send money home to pay their cousin's school fee, their grandma's medical bill. So their focus, a lot of them, a few of them are fortunate to have people who are here to support them, but the most of them are grinding, and they don't know. They're not paying attention to the news. They don't know. The people that you see on TV, and I see some of their channels because I follow a lot of news channels. I follow a lot of what's happening, not just in Africa, around the world. I'm a news junkie. So I see the YouTube, even though I'm a boomer, I'm very, very technologically connected, especially when it comes to this kind of stuff. So these people that you see on YouTube and TikTok, they have no clue. They, number one, a lot of them are just totally ignorant. Number two, when you hear them say, "Oh, my father told me," and the other thing is, I find that my father told me, my mother told me, I see it coming mostly out of two countries in West Africa. I'm not going to name them, but that my father told me, or my mother told me, oh, African Americans don't have no culture. They are ignorant, and their parents were ignorant. And that's what they're spewing. But I will tell you this, I will put a number on it. I think that of those people that you see on YouTube, maybe 20%, maybe 25% of these people that of the Africans that come have that mentality. But majority of the people that I know and have come in contact with, of all generations, from mine to the people in their 20s, they do not feel that way. And it breaks my heart when I hear people all say, "Oh, all Africans hate us." No, you're dealing with, just like you have an ignoramus section of the African American community, you have an ignoramus, white worshiping part of Africans. That is not, don't say all Africans. It's, I would put a number, 2025 on it. And no, Africans that know, that are educated, that not only are, even me, when I come in contact with Africans who, if they said anything like that to me, I give them a history. I give them a history lesson. Because when I came to America, I came to all whites, white school, the white people, the people who were mine, they were all white. But I was fortunate. It's fortunately for me, I already had the education. I already knew that I made it my business to make friends with an African American family. When the first month I was here, I sought out an African American who introduced me to their family, who I'm still part of their family today. They then brought me and introduced me into the a Black community. I wasn't living in the Black community. Most Black people lived in Roxbury. I don't know if you heard of that. In Roxbury, everything at that time in Boston was segregated. All Blacks live in Roxbury. The whites lived in South Boston, the North End, and other parts of Boston. That was it. I lived in the Back Bay. That's where my school was. That's near Beacon Hill. That's where the wealthy and the WASP people live. That's where I lived. If I had come and just stayed there and gone to school there and didn't have a background, I would have stepped out of there thinking, oh, there is no racism in America. Everything is perfectly fine. I live a nice life. The white people I was around were Boston Berman types. They're not going to use the N-word. They're not going to say anything. Even though I got to know, when I met my African American family, they instructed me on how racism worked up in Boston, because I wouldn't have known, because it was so, everything is nuanced. It's not in your face. So if you're coming from another culture, you won't get it. But they taught me. So I am 100%, I 100% support African Americans, those that are doing well, those that are trying to do well. I fully appreciate what they've been through. And on the other hand, for Africans who don't appreciate that, most of the time it's because they don't know. And it's up to us to educate them, us Africans, to educate the ones that are ignorant, and not to have a fight with the African Americans, and defend the ones that don't. And I'll just say one more thing, and I'll get off. The FBA thing. Not all African Americans are FBA or ADOS. They're different. And I would appeal to some of the people on the panel to learn the difference. it's when they say it's disrespectful for you to call all African Americans FBA, it is. So there is a difference. The FBA people have chosen that title. The ADOS people have chosen that title. But there's a whole, there are conservative blacks, there are liberal blacks, there are independent blacks, there are all kinds of black people. So just like how we don't want to be put in a box, don't put black people in a box. I understand when they say they feel insulted. I understand it. Okay, thank you for listening to me. I'll just listen in the back.
Okay. All right, let me pass it to Delmont Green Beans. Go ahead, Delmont.
Oh, I thought you were coming to me.
Well, let me pass it to Delmont. Let me get to Delmont. Go ahead, Delmont. Unmute yourself, Delmont.
Yeah, how you doing? Can you hear me clear?
Yeah, if you can speak up, you're trying to sound like Barry White. You ain't got to do your sexy voice on here. This ain't Midnight Love. This ain't Midnight Love, bro. You ain't got to do your sexy voice, man.
Yeah, I just fell on into this YouTube channel. I just fell onto it, and this subject has been floating around, kind of like, and within these last few years since the pandemic. Okay, so I want us all to be aware of the chessboard itself. You know, both of us on either side of the ocean had something done to us. So we always got to keep that in the back end of the whole thing while you moving pieces. So I always want us all to be aware of that part. But sometimes there's different creators, different content creators that we see that's a part of this subject that run into it. I don't know if I'm allowed to say anyone's names. I don't want to
go ahead.
So this is how I see it. So there's a young brother that's called Adonis Live. He's overseas, he travels, and this subject keeps coming up to him. So, and then before that, there was, our usuals is Dr. Umar, Tariq Nasheed, etc. So these last few years within the Twitter spaces, these Africans that come over here, they've been kind of revealing themselves once the reparations conversation came up. So this is kind of like a border of why this thing has been coming up as I've been observing from I haven't really been able to say nothing. This is just what I see. And I have a different upbringing as well. So I'm from Kansas City, but I jumped off the porch in Jamaica, Queens. So I had homies that's Jamaican, Trinidadian, But I had, as we were growing up, I'm an older cat. So as we growing up in the early 90s and all that, I had to put them on game. Then we had a couple of sisters that was from Jamaican roots, but they was from England. They was older than us, pretty as hell. We young dudes, we tripping on how they looking, whatever. But all we doing is playing ball. We young dudes. So they in their 20s. They coming just their first time coming to New York and America. So we having to I put them on game on where they at. Because for us, United States, you don't go to your cousin's neighborhood without your cousin telling you what's really going on around the neighborhood. You just can't pull up to the neighborhood and just be thinking you're going to do whatever. So we be trying to tell people when they come out here, yo, where you at? Where's your terrain? But they not listening. So they not listening to us. Then we getting caught up in the game about who's African American and all that on something somebody named us without us knowing and how they've been classifying it. So, and then I'm still telling you as from a perspective as a combat veteran. So we going through all these different things whilst the chessboard underneath our feet is changing and we losing ground. We losing ground on the battle. So I just want us to be aware of that part too, but I don't want us to just keep separating ourselves. I know we get frustrated with each other. You see all this stuff going on, but the chessboard itself is against us both. Because if we get this shit straight, all of them know we gonna bubble like a motherfucker, and then we gonna be the Jetsons out this bitch, and I'm gone.
Okay, guys, hit the like button again. Please hit that like button. Let me pass it back to you, Willie. Then I'll pass it to Volvo. Go ahead, Willie.
Yeah, so like I said, like 60s, 70s, we worshiped Africa, we worshiped Africa's leaders, right? 80s and 90s, we started to see more people from the continent and from the diaspora come into America, right? Why should I have to go all the way across the Atlantic to spark Pan-Africanism when there's no Pan-Africanism right here in America where I grow up around them, right? When we talk about Wakanda, right? What's it called? Black Panther, right? This is what's problematic about people worship. Because yes, we put on our best dashikis and we said funga lafia, ashe, and made all types of videos going into to see this movie. And then what happens? Marvel took our dollars, and Marvel was one of the highest contributors to Donald Trump's campaign. That's a fact. Now, many of us are starting to look at strategy, and we're saying a lot of the things that we've invested our time, energy, and money into
Okay,
are
well, hold on,
benefiting us.
hold on, Willie. Let me ask you a question because it's obvious you have what I call TDS. Please tell me what black people. Please tell me what corporations black people put money into as a whole that actually invest back into the community.
McDonald's.
There's a ton.
McDonald's.
There's a ton. I mean, that may sound like a joke, but Calvin was the big deal.
All the majors do, dog.
He asked me the question.
Oh, my bad.
Pardon me.
Damn,
So,
don't be mad at me.
It may sound like a joke, right?
Hold on. But Dave, remember when Trump was working at McDonald's serving hamburgers during his campaign?
I was saying because of the Black McDonald's Operators Association, one of the biggest.
But Dave, they sued McDonald's because they were saying they weren't getting a good franchise location. And they remember Donald Trump was actually serving hamburgers at McDonald's during this campaign. So they support.
That was a PR stunt.
But still, go ahead, Willie.
I'm saying our ass.
Nah, I mean, yes, there are a number of companies that have invested back into the black community. One of the things you'll find through DEI is a number of companies loving to say, yeah, we hire this many blacks, we hire this many services.
Trump hired a lot of blacks too at his casino. You gotta put that on record.
Motorola.
So no matter what I say, there's never gonna be a positive in it, right?
Not there be a positive that Trump hired black people and fed black people.
No, listen to what I'm saying. You asked me a question. I'm trying to answer it. No matter what I say, your belief is, right? We get nothing out of this country. That's your belief. You're entitled to.
No, Willie, you inserted Trump, and I'm just like, you act like Nike and
you missed the point.
No, Willie brought up Trump. Trump said
you missed the point. My point was our worship of that continent caused us to proudly and Africanly put money in the coffers of companies that were literally working against us. It's a fact. So now we're starting to say we're just focused on what we know, what we can see in front of us, and our own landscape. We want to define ourselves. We want to determine our power, our future.
What
and
power?
The world and the African world has a problem with it.
What power?
I know y'all don't want a million.
So
I know for a fact you don't want a million black
Americans on Africa. You really think George Soros, right? And the Koch
promise you, if you went to the chiefs over there,
hold on. Dave, I'm trying to hear Willie. Go ahead, Willie.
You really think George Soros and the Koch brothers spend billions, millions and millions of dollars lobbying for the black vote if we have no power? No, people understand our power. They bamboozle us into not using it to our benefit, right? And that could be said for diaspora countries all around. That could be said for the continent.
Black politicians that are funded by George Soros are fighting for illegal alien criminals more than they are for the black people.
Again, you're missing the point.
I mean,
the point is, They spend money
Right.
to capture our vote because they see the political power we
The
have.
black folks have nothing to show for it. Go ahead.
I'm not going to say that. I'm doing quite well. And
Yeah, I am too. It's called, yeah. Me and you agree because we bootstrap.
I'm
That we
tired of
network.
y'all middle class, all these middle class
yeah,
people
I mean, yeah, of course.
talking ghetto. It's retarded. Everybody that you seeing on this panel is employed and probably close, if not middle class. But you're using ghetto talking points. The problem is y'all don't want to have a black middle class renaissance. And you don't want the money. You want everybody over there on some travel agent stuff. When we saying where the business at, put the paperwork together. Basically, do you want thousands of tourists or millions and billions of investment? That's the choice. Because truth be told, y'all ain't ready for 1 million of us to come on over there.
Oh Lord. Oh, okay.
Y'all
All
not.
right, Dave. All right, Dave.
And
All right.
Most black people are not going to be able to afford to go to Africa.
Bruh. So do you want investment in finance, or do you want tourism? Try to do this travel agent stuff. That's the main thing.
Tourism is investment.
2.0 Pan-Africanism.
Dave, it's $1 billion industry. What are you talking about?
Most black people don't have a passport.
Industry. Let me pass it.
I got mine, but most people ain't got passports.
Most don't. Of course, only a small fraction of black people have passports. But then again, most black people don't even want to travel to Africa because of the fact that a lot of those countries are third world countries. Why would people want to travel to third world countries that are underdeveloped?
Black folks travel to Mexico.
I mean, Mexico is a little bit more developed than parts of Africa.
It's 2 hours away, bro. You ain't got to get no shots to go to Mexico.
Black folks travel to Mexico.
It's 2 hours.
You can literally drive to Mexico from the bordering states.
It's 2 hours away. It's like going to Vegas.
And that is cultural.
But all parts of Mexico is not third world.
And that is cultural aspects. I can speak basic Spanish, right?
Well, some of it is. Yeah,
lost if I go to the continent.
Oh, he can
So
definitely speak
cultural
basic
dynamics as
Spanish.
well.
We know you can speak Spanish.
See, but the problem is y'all talk to the most
But
ignorant of
Willie,
us, right?
Willie, you understand that Willie, you understand
is a Latin American
Willie, you
country.
understand there's
Barbados is an English-speaking country.
You understand
We know you're from Barbados, bro. We get it. We get it, bro. Yeah, we get it. You're black from Barbados. We get it, bro.
Willie,
No, I'm black from South Carolina and home.
Hold on, what Mike?
Don't
What Mike?
speak on my heritage.
Willie, you do understand there's English-speaking countries in Africa. So
Of course, I understand that.
So what are you talking about?
I'm saying, right, depending on where you go, right, you're not going to be able to connect with the people because of the language barrier.
So you connect more with.
Hold
on,
let me
connect more with Mexico's and
let me answer your question.
Let
me answer your question. What I'm saying is, here in America, because of our proximity to other groups, yes, many of us did learn Spanish. Learning Spanish in corporate instantly makes you more marketable.
Yeah.
Instantly.
Yeah, it definitely.
Willie, the majority of black people only speak one language in America. Come on, man.
I know.
All right, so it's just negative
But that's the
on
truth,
black.
really.
So when
It's the
everything
truth.
that
The
I
majority
say you
of black
have a
people
negative
don't speak
response
to-
to, I just say
Majority
I'm
of
going
black
to
people
stay
are
here in America and
duolingual.
mind my business.
They don't speak, they speak only English. What are you
But
talking
you
about?
never answered the question, Dynast.
What's the question?
Would you rather have thousands more tourists or millions and billions and more investment?
What do you
A
me
binary
personally?
choice.
Oh, you
A
talking about
binary choice, yes.
You talking about me personally?
Yes.
Investors for me.
Okay, thank you. All right, that's all I wanted to know. All
You know
right.
that-
Okay, all right, okay. That's all I'm saying is
Africa gets
it's a
millions
lot
of
on the
tourists
table.
from Europe and Asia, and you know that, right? There are millions of tourists that go to Africa from other parts of the world. Well, if you get on the plane going to Kenya, Namibia, and all of that, you will see lots of tourists coming from New Zealand, from Australia, from all parts of Europe. It's excuse me, I'll correct myself. It's Black Americans. Lots of white Americans go all over Africa for vacation every year, millions of them. It's Black Americans that don't. So it's a Black American thing. You'll be surprised how many whites you get on the plane going to these African countries. It's mostly, as far as Americans,
It's mostly boomers.
No, it's
Y'all
not.
got all the money.
It's a lot. Not most.
It's younger. It's a little bit of everything. Listen,
It's some of everything. This
From
is
all black people.
You don't go, so you don't know.
But sis, what's problematic,
there's a middle of everything going on.
The majority of black Americans going is
the topic is how
not no
did
young
black Americans disassociate themselves from Africa? And y'all are telling us why. Y'all are telling me I'm wrong as a black man in America for why we no longer prioritize that connection. That's the problem.
But Willie, again, okay, Willie, I understand the disassociation. Okay, whatever. You separate, you delineate, but you're delineating for what?
Waiting for the business paperwork.
I think
how am I supposed to do international trade when we vote the same people? I need for you to be Ghanaian and for me to be American. International business.
All I see is a bunch of yelling and screaming online. So it's like, all right, we ain't no Africans, we black Americans. Okay, what is that? What do you gain by that?
International business, because we can't get our reparations with both of us trying to be African American.
Reparations. That's okay. Delineating and hope of getting reparations, I guess. Go ahead, Bobo.
Bobo. And business.
Go ahead,
hopefully I'll get the same grace everybody else got. Delineating so we won't be erased. If we absorb everybody, then our culture becomes just a universal culture. We would just become a people.
What's FBA culture?
What's the FBA culture? Hip hop. The one not
black
everybody.
It's just another word for
why
black
ain't it?
American.
Why ain't it? Why come up people's music ain't they culture? You wouldn't laugh if I said mariachi was Mexican. But our culture, everybody want to steal from that. Our food that we eat, our religion.
Bobo, this is the reality. Hip hop culture is more. What's the Jewish dude's name? That Dame Dash is always.
All right, bro. Maybe I'm wrong. You asked me a question, but can I finish?
Leo Cole.
Whatever, bro. If that's what you say it is, bro, I understand where you at. You got to drum up your tourist attractions. You know, you got
Leo Cole owns hip hop.
All right, hip hop culture.
Leo Cohen
is religion. The way we dress, the way
Leo
we talk.
Owns hip hop. He's definitely in ECOWAS, but he owns hip hop. Go ahead.
What's the difference?
Listen, because see, hold on. I'm gonna pass you, Bobo. Hold on. I'm gonna tell you the difference, Willie. See my 2 ECOWAS passports? I ain't have to go to Lil Alcor to get them. I had to beg him for a record deal to distribute it. My see these 2 ECOWAS passports, my Nigerian and my Sierra Leone ECOWAS passports. I ain't have to go through.
Where they going?
I'm telling you.
Where they going?
So listen, my 2 ECOWAS passports. See him right here. I ain't have to go through somebody that don't look like me to ask for beg for distribution. And can you put my CD out? And oh man, I got screwed by a bad record deal. Oh my God, they screwed me a bad record deal. Oh my God, they control the culture. I had to do none of that for my 2 passports.
But you went through a program that's funded by white money.
No,
Let's
I didn't.
Play that game. Leo Cohen is no different than the French.
I did no program to get my 2.
Most likely you did.
I went directly to an African to get it. I ain't have to go to Leo Cohen to get them. I had to go to Leo Cohen to get them. But let me pass it to Bobo. Hold on. Go ahead, Bobo. Sorry, Bobo. Go ahead, Bobo.
Bro. But you did have to go to somebody else that wasn't you, because them people over there.
They were definitely me. They was definitely me. Trust me, they were definitely me. Go ahead.
You know, I know that's part of your game, but they not you. No, they not. And they knew when they gave you that, they knew you wasn't them too. Let me just touch on the topic, because the space always dissolve. Oh, something one guy said. This is a CIA thing. The CIA would rather have us talking about Pan-Africanism. Because that's nothing. That's a dead ball. Pan-Africanism is nothing. They don't need to stop. They don't need to have a CIA program to stop Pan-Africanism. That's nothing. They got satellites flying over Africa. They know everything everybody doing. They don't gotta have no special guy come up and do that. Why? Y'all a non-factor. Africa is a non-starter. They got total control over Africa. That and Cromwell guy, he ain't gonna do nothing. They get him out of here anytime they feel like it.
That's
they
a very
house right now. If they want to, they can fly a Hellfire missile right in his living room, and that'll be the end of that discussion.
Nah, I think they put that.
Hold on, wait. Let me just.
Let Bobo finish.
I'm almost done, man. I'm gonna try to go fast as possible because these guys trigger to touch on the space. The reason why we don't see ourselves as African, because Africans sold us. We used to see ourselves as Africans. but then they threw us out of there. They sold us.
Never seen that.
They sold us to
Chicago. What the fuck?
Listen, bro, you already lost that argument 12 times.
No,
they sold us. Period. That actually happened.
I'm from ancient Chicago, bro. We just said African American out of solidarity. So
yeah, hold on. Let me just finish, brother. Let me finish. Then they want to act like this some big scheme against the Africans or something like that. We interact with you. All of us must be stupid then. All of us got the same story about Africans. All of us got the same. No, we don't. I mean, except for you gotta get them on your trip to go to Africa. So you gotta, you know what I mean? Like, so you gotta get them on your trip. So yeah, Africa's great, but it's not.
I'm gonna join Dinus and them.
Bro, can you control yourself?
I'm meet up everybody.
I didn't
do one day, brother.
Hold on, go. Let Bobo finish. So I can pass to Maximilian. I can pass to Brandon.
It was always a part of our culture to celebrate Africa. I remember Roots used to come on every year. We used to sit down and watch Roots every year. Shaka Zulu used to come on TV every year. We was like, look at Shaka.
I wanted to just make one point.
No. Let Bobo, because it ain't nothing. That was always a part of our culture to celebrate Africa and salute Africa and say that's where our heritage is from. Then the African came over here and said, y'all are Katas, y'all lazy. Y'all, we're better than you. How are we so advanced when you we're doctors, we're lawyers, we're engineers, you've been here for years and you guys have no culture and all that. They came over here. This was y'all idea. So now that we agree with y'all, hold on, wait. No, don't agree with us. That's fake and that's phony. Here's my last point.
Hold on, let her finish. Go ahead, Bobo.
Yeah, here's my last point. It was something said about Black Americans don't got nothing. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. I do business with Black Americans all day. I work around Black Americans all day. We live in this country. We're integrated into this country. I make more than the white man I work with. I make more than white men I work with. White men, this is a white country, right? I make more than white men. I'm one of the top earners in the company.
You're an individual.
Don't tell them none of that, man. They might feel bad.
So what are you talking about? We don't have nothing. I'm a homeowner. I'm a small business owner. I deal with Black businesses all day.
Everybody on this panel have something. That's the main thing.
Let Bobo finish.
Ford, and all these businesses. I live in a Black city. My mayor is Black. If all the Black Americans left this city, the city was shut down. It wouldn't run. The mayor Black. The judges is Black. The police is Black. You live in Atlanta. Like, what are you talking about, bro? You're just saying that because it's like you're giving a hand job to the Africans. Because they got a fetish for that. Why not? Come on, you're being unreasonable. Appreciate you letting me speak, bro.
Right. All right, Maximilian. Go ahead, Maximilian.
What's going on, Dennis? I didn't calm down from the other day. I apologize, Bobo, whether we agree or not. I apologize for talking that way.
I apologize as well, brother.
Yeah.
Good.
So let me get to what I was saying, Dennis. This is what I've been thinking to myself, and I talked to Dennis earlier today, but I didn't mention it. The question is, who raised you? Well, you might, and that's the question I have to ask myself. When people say, Matt, why are you always defending the Africans? Why are you always taking up for the Africans? Let me explain. So my mom was a Christian. My daddy is from the Nation of Islam. I used to listen to Malcolm. Every tape that Malcolm X ever put out, I've always listened to that brother. And one thing Malcolm has never disassociated itself with some Africa. As the one thing the African American, that what hurts us most, we don't have an identity. But my father would always tell me, you are African first. You are Indian. Your mama's an Indian. I'm an African. So I always knew when I went to school, I would hold my head high. I have a continent that I came from. That my people are kings and queens. We were just kidnapped by somebody, but I am somebody. I am from Africa. Then when I left there for my high school, I went to Jackson State, where my professors from Cameroon, Nigeria, Ghana, that was hard on me, would not let me, do less than what I should do. You want to tell me what was easy on me? The African-American professors. My African professors would not let me slide. I want the best out of you. So I've seen that African people care about you. And so so that's why I have so much love for them, because they taught me. I got my degrees behind African-American professors, and I know they gave a damn about me. So that's why I'm always going to be Pan-African, brother. We have to get away from that. If you go back into, if you deny your own history, your own culture, you're denying yourself. As a black man, when you say I'm not an African, you're denying your ancestors. Y'all know how many times I've said that. But to deny your own people, is to deny your mother and your grandfather and your great-grandfather and your ancestors. I can't see how a man could do that, Donnie.
I'm from ancient Chicago.
But that's the way, that's my opinion. So I don't believe in FBA.
Can I
You can be an
speak?
FBA.
Hold on,
but
Chrissy.
you,
Hold on, Chrissy.
When the Negro Empire was ruling.
I didn't interrupt anybody. You can be an FBA. You can be idols, but you have to be African if you look like one. Only a fool would deny what he looks like and where his ancestors are from. And I cannot understand why a man in America, wherever you from, that's out of an African, if you mad at Africans about slavery, talk about that. But don't say you're not an African. That sounds foolish. That sounds foolish to a white man laughs at you. These Negroes don't believe that they own Africans. You would never tell a European he's not European. But you could convince a Negro that he's not an African. That's a hell of a job you've done on they done on y'all. And I'm never gonna deny my culture. I love my African history. I don't like the way everything happened, but I'm an African. You can never take that from me. That is the most.
What is your African history, Max? What is your African
history? Yeah. I gotta pass the Maximilian. Go ahead, and I gotta pass the Chris. Go ahead.
But my point is,
you older than Nigeria, brother. You are. I'm not even making that up. You older than Nigeria. Go ahead,
brother.
I thought I was next.
No, it's it's Chrissy then Brandon.
Can I finish this, Dinus?
Go ahead.
We cannot deny our own ancestors, brother. That is foolish.
I don't deny.
All right, let me pass it up.
The African Empire.
Go ahead, Chrissy.
We was trading.
Yes. Hi, everyone. I just wanted to come on real quick, and then I have to go and take care of some stuff. But Volvo was talking about the FBA delineation and knowing yourself or not losing your identity, and I actually agree with that. When the whole FBA thing started, I actually used to listen to Tariq Nasheed and say, he makes some good points. Then he got into Haitians started AIDS, all this mud hut red, all this other kind of stuff. And I'm like, this is the same man who went to Haiti and Haitians rolled out the red carpet for him. This is the same man who went to Zimbabwe and Zimbabweans rolled out the red carpet for him. Then it just turned from, there's nothing wrong with saying, hey, we have a specific history, we have a specific culture. That's fine. Nothing is wrong with that. But then it turned into, who can I tear down to build up my self-esteem? And I feel like I'm seeing a pattern because the white man in America built his self-esteem and identity on treating Black Americans like doo-doo and talking about them like doo-doo. And I see the same pattern of this FBA thing, building their identity on talking about Black immigrants like doo-doo. And the thing is, like, we're such a small
African Americans.
Let me finish. We are such a small population. I don't see this same animus for white people. The amount of land white people have taken from Black farmers over generations, the wealth that has been stolen, the shootings, the unarmed shootings. I don't see this level of animus. I would see people will talk about, oh, I don't date Black women because I date white women because of this or because of that, right? So there's no animus. There's no standing concerted animus for whites, but there's concerted animus for a small population. I don't know if it's because our population is so small, people feel like we're low-hanging fruit, because I don't see this for the Asians. I don't see this for the Jews. I don't see this for the Latinos. It is specifically targeted to a small group of people who can't hire you or fire you, who have never shot you in your back, who've never stolen your land, who've never Jim Crowed you. I mean, it's really amazing to me. And every week I hear the same conversation. African people are coming on, explaining themselves. Who sold who, Ray and Tay. I'm from the Caribbean. We were sold too. We are the same situation, but we don't sit down and pine on what happened 400 years ago and to have animus today for what happened 400 years ago. We're not doing that. We move forward, right? Because if you keep looking back, what you have to offer the next generation? You're so busy looking back and feeling sorry for yourself, you can't move forward. So all of this, there's an expectation of this constant apology constant explanation. Me personally, I'm done with it. I'm not explaining myself to nobody no more. Because guess what? I'm going to take the Caribbean for an instance. You see, Haitians specifically, have been treated like garbage by the Caribbean, especially Jamaican people. But despite that, Haitians are some of the proudest people on the planet. You can't tell them nothing because they know themselves. They're sure of themselves. If you like them, fine. If you don't like them, fine. They don't give a damn who like them and who don't like them. If you bang with them, cool. If you're not bang with them, cool. They don't care. They don't sit on a pine on who like me, who don't like me, who
But
saw
sis,
me,
they're
who don't.
also
Let me
some
finish
of the
this.
Oh, well,
Who
poorest.
don't
yeah,
saw
I
me,
gotta
all
pass
that kind of
the
stuff. Their confidence is not based on the condition of Haiti. Their confidence is not based on poverty because you can be rich today and poor tomorrow. Their confidence is based on something else. And whoever don't have confidence that's based on a solid foundation, who need to feel like, hey, I need to roast this one to feel good, or I have more money than this one, I feel better. When you have your confidence is solid, you don't give a who like you and who don't like you. So guess what? The world will never change. All type of people will either like or dislike. They're gonna be Africans who love you. They're gonna be Africans who don't love you. They're gonna be Caribbean people who love you. They're gonna be Caribbean people who don't love you. They're gonna be your own Black American who love you. They're gonna be your own Black American who hates you. People are dynamic. But so this perfection that is being expected is not realistic. And if we're not gonna whitewash history, on the other end, Black America as a whole have not been Pan-African. It has been a segment, yes, of a very vocal segment that has been Pan-African. But coming to this country, or you've heard some horrible stuff about Africans, you've heard some horrible stuff about Caribbean. I'm going to tell you that as somebody from that background, right, that make you say, oh, you know what I'm saying? We're never always going to think the same. Somebody was saying that, hey, we come here and y'all tell us the lay of the land or we don't listen. Guess what? When we come here, we tell our people back home the lay of the land, they don't listen either. So, you know, this perfection expectation, this extra high standard that is expected from the African or the Caribbean, that is not expected from other groups who actually do harm you, is a problem. And to me, that's it's anti-Black within itself, because it's so easy to hammer down on a small group of Black people that really don't have just trying to make a way, versus the
It's a
bigger
two-way
groups who are
street.
actually harming you. I don't see all of this chess for those groups. Nobody had no chess for them. It's very
Because you're not
interesting.
paying
And that's
attention.
all I
You're
wanted
not
to say.
paying attention.
Oh, I'm
You're
paying
not, ma'am.
attention and
You're
I'm
not paying
listening.
attention.
Very well.
I gotta pass the mic. Go ahead, Brandon.
Hey,
Can I just get 1 second after Brandon? And my points are always real short.
Go ahead, Brandon.
Then can I go after General Dave?
Yeah. Go ahead, Brandon.
Like Chrissy digging in their chest with her statement, she's 100% right. I heard her bring up the term Akata. Most Black people became familiar with that because of the movie Sugar Hill with Wesley Snipes.
Why would they put that in the movie?
The funny thing about Sugar Hill is once the Nigerian dude referred to Wesley Snipes as an Akata, he didn't start acting like a bitch and complaining. He took off on that fool. Then he went on to become the biggest dope dealer in the whole city. He put in the work to take the crown, right? That's the way Black America used to act. We used to have a chip on our shoulder to where we would show people who we really were as opposed to who they thought we were. These dudes are a bunch of hoes following a wannabe pimp. And if you've ever talked to a hoe, she doesn't have her own mind. Whatever the pimp tell her identity is, or whatever the pimp tell her to think, that's what she think. Tariq
Are you talking about African Americans?
Tariq Nasheed.
No, he said by FBA specific.
Tariq Nasheed,
and I agree.
has put a battery in these dudes' backs.
Yep.
He don't even like them. Let's be real. He doesn't even want to live around Black Americans, especially the FBAs.
I thought the topic was African Americans once saw themselves.
Yo, Dave, hold on 1 second.
I want to know whether I need to drop or not. Is this an FBA conversation or African American?
Dave, you keep interrupting the side busting. Be quiet, please. Go ahead, Brandon.
Tariq conversation.
Listen, there's no question, Dynas, that none of these idiots even thought about delineation or any of that until Tariq started talking about that.
Facts.
Yep. Facts, bro.
10 years ago, these idiots were doing whatever they were doing, but they were not talking about delineation. If any of these guys have been on YouTube for any extended amount of time over 5 years ago, let's go in their YouTube, Dynast, and go back and see if they mentioned delineation in any of their videos. They never did. So we know what you did. And Tariq has the perfect mixture of entertainer, hypocrite, and idiot. Therefore, he is the perfect person in the eyes of Black America, right? Even when he started talking about he was a Native American, they jumped on that. Here's the reality. These people have never been to Africa. The first thing my granddad taught me that they single mother didn't teach them. Don't ever talk about stuff you ain't never experienced. Don't ever talk about a place you ain't never been, because men don't do that, right? That's the problem with the single motherhood pandemic in America. It's created a bunch of beta male victims who think that they're going to get an award for talking about how oppressed they are. Exactly like Chrissy said, Dynast, they have all this smoke for the Africans, and Africans did sell other Africans into slavery. So you can't say they sold you because you was different. They sold people who look just like them. You have African kings who even sold their own mothers into slavery. So we know it wasn't discrimination or racism. It was just pure greed. The same type of greed African Americans display today when we sacrifice our children to the machine of America so that we can gain acceptance. We got smoke for the Africans who died 1,000 years ago, 300 years ago. But we don't got smoke for the white man who actually placed you in inhuman bondage, treated you like chattel, raped your mothers, your sisters, your grandmothers, all that. You want to go work at a job with him.
Brandon,
you gotta be specific. Because you're talking about Africa.
Brandon, we fought to integrate with them.
Yep.
Yeah, this coon
We
Bobo
fought
talked
to
about.
integrate with them.
Listen, this
the
coon
same way
Bobo-
the African
Why
fought
you
to
keep
come
using
over.
me when I just need clarity? Is
No,
The
no,
African fought to come over here.
Listen.
For
this-
money,
Listen, this
not
coon-
for
Yeah,
friendship.
right, for
No,
money,
I'm
right,
about to get
right.
to that.
Let Brandon.
Hey, listen,
Brandon.
I didn't interrupt y'all. This boy holding up $1. Listen, I'm about to get to that. Let me tell you this. Bobo thought it was a sign of achievement when he said, I make more than the white people at my job. In that statement, because bro actually talks like a slave, he thinks like a slave too. Why come I? Don't nobody talk like that. There are Africans in Africa who speak English better than your ignorant ass. Why you talk about Africans don't speak English? I ain't never heard no African. In Nigeria, have you ever heard a Nigerian say,
I ain't never heard no.
Have you ever
Let
heard?
him
Have
cook.
you ever?
You just said I ain't
Let
never
him
heard
cook.
no.
Listen.
Is that
Why?
correct
I ain't
English?
never heard no.
Is you
Yeah, I ain't
talking
never
about
heard no. Yeah.
African Americans or FBA?
Listen.
Because the title
He
says
was funny.
African
I
Americans, so
took
you
him.
got to be
I took him.
specific.
You heard.
If you talking about the
I heard
African
him,
American
y'all.
nation,
I heard him.
it's
Oh,
FBA.
man.
I heard him.
What's the
They
difference?
interrupted.
Go
What's the
ahead,
difference
Brandon.
between African American and FBA?
Brandon.
Even if I say I ain't never heard no, I'm not the one criticizing other people because their ability to speak
About
English.
49 million
You're
to
the-
100,000.
You're the person trying to use who speaks English better as some type of like metric for who's more who.
Not me.
Listen. Anyway, why come I stick with that? But what I'm
You
telling
just said that. You just said that. You used it as a metric.
Just
I
like
ain't never
Malcolm,
heard no.
it's just like Malcolm X said. Black people are the only group of people in the world that believe in progress through concession.
I just need you to say it about African Americans.
Not the Africans that's displaced all over the world.
Listen,
because I ain't dealing with the 100,000 FBA. I'm talking about 49 million. I want you to be direct because that's what the title talking
Can
about.
you please let me get my words out?
I'm just asking you to be specific.
clarify
Who is you
that?
talking about?
Hey,
Who is you just saying?
Dave, golly, I can't take
Yeah,
that.
just ignorant. And Dynast, that's the mindset they have politically and socially. I don't give a fuck about nothing. It's just what I think that's important. These people don't even stop to look at the world and see the context in a macro sense. Everything is about their anecdotal experience, and they try to project that onto everybody else. You might have a fat, ugly wife, Vovo, which you probably do. I don't have
You
a
look
fat,
like a fat, ugly wife. You look like a fat, ugly wife.
Listen.
You look just like a fat, ugly wife.
I don't have a fat.
Call my fat.
Listen, Dinus, I don't have a fat, ugly wife. You
are a fat, ugly wife.
I can't speak to every black man as if they have a beautiful wife that's in shape, that's absolutely gorgeous, because that's not their experience. Stop trying to make your experience my experience, because if you start doing that, now I want to compare what you got to what I got, and what you got don't compare. So it's funny how all the broke, ignorant, can't talk English dudes always trying to punch down on an African.
I thought the ability to speak English wasn't a metric.
There's not a single black person with money who give a damn about what an African is doing in America. As a matter of fact, they'll work with Africans to try to get to that chili. Only people who care about this stuff are low IQ, 40-year-old dudes with cornrows like Vovo. Anybody of substance don't give a damn about this nonsense. They only punch down on Africans because Africans in America don't have the ability to punch back. Tariq Nasheed, his leader, got punked out by Mexicans during that Power 106 protest. You ain't heard this dude mention a Mexican. When them Mexicans showed up to no jumper for Tariq's ass, his bitch ass was scared. And you ain't heard him talk about a Hispanic since. These dudes are scary. They're cowards. They pick on people, punch down on people who they think are lower than them. And they do it all to get the approval of white people. The only problem is white people don't even care about that shit no more. So what they're doing is they're destroying their global relationship. They're destroying their domestic relationship with their own people, trying to get approval that's never going to come. Much in the way they're trying to get reparations, that's never going to come. Dinus, I'm telling you this. Let me say this for all the retards. We ethnically are Africans. Our DNA is African. Nationally, we are Americans. Socially, culturally, we are whatever we want to be. You can be anything. I could be a jiu-jitsu fighter. That's a subculture, right? America is a nationality, Leandre. Do you still work at Baskin
culturally,
Robbins?
we still culturally grew up in America.
Hey,
okay.
Do you still work at Baskin Robbins? Because last time I talked to you,
see, this is what I'm saying. Like, it's not. You're not serious.
Ain't no Negro who scoop ice cream tell me nothing about geopolitics.
Bro, they're never gonna be serious. Pan-Africanism is never gonna be a serious.
Pan-Africanism is dead. It's a religion. It's a cult. It's a religion.
Hold on, let Brandon finish. I gotta read these super chats. Go ahead, Brandon.
Here's the thing about Pan-Africanism. Pan-Africanism is a legal way to reconnect with Africa. It is a political ideology, which is not a crime.
It's a political ideology that undermines the ADOS movement because they want to include themselves.
It doesn't, brother. Really, they helping us.
Dinus, stop interrupting me. Listen, Dinus, a lot of Black American men are criminal-minded. So they feel that the only solution of problems is to do something illegal. Oh, we got to have a revolution. We got to go to war with the white man. Listen, there are revolutions that aren't violent, cultural revolutions. They happen all the time. That is what Pan-Africanism was and is and has always been. We have an advantage over Marcus Garvey, Amos Wilson, and all the people who preceded us. We have
the same dude that wrote a letter to the KKK.
Right,
bro, let him finish talking, man.
We have an unprecedented access to new technology like the internet. We can fly a plane from America to Africa and be in Africa in 14 hours. Marcus Garvey
never there.
Marcus Garvey them did not have that ability. So their process was slower. Since we've been given this technology, Dinus, people like me, you, all these Pan-African people, we have taken full advantage of that, and we have progressed in 5 years more than the FBA has progressed in 10 years. And let me tell you something. We were with FBA, we were with you guys on the Buy Black movement, but we watched you guys sacrifice the Buy Black movement to go become beggars for reparations. That's when I knew this shit was done. I said they don't want nothing. They don't want nothing, because when we were all behind Buy Black movement, black people spending multiple millions with black-owned businesses, you guys said that ain't nothing. We rather beg the white man for reparations. Listen,
that's not begging just because we say we want justice. That's not begging.
Dinus, I got a challenge.
They begging us, bro. This is false beg.
Dinus, I got a challenge. I got a challenge.
Stop begging, Brandon. Big Brandon.
One of these dudes.
Bucci Brandon.
Dinus, listen.
Stop begging, Bucci.
Dinus,
Bro, let him finish.
Dinus.
Bro, let him finish.
Let me say this. This is going to take 30 seconds. Dinus, listen. I got a plan. My 5-year plan for all black people who are in Pan-Africanism is to develop and maintain, because we already developed them, economic ties with Africa and build economic infrastructure in Africa. That's our 5-year plan. None of these idiots. None of these.
Bro, shut the fuck up. Let him talk, man.
And you're not going to do it.
Wait, we've already done it. We've already done it. That's what you don't get. You're new here. We've already done it because we was talking about this 5 years ago. Am I lying, Dinus?
Y'all setting up.
No, you're not lying.
Bro,
I remember.
more Pan-African
scams. More Pan-African scams.
Dinus.
More Pan-African scams.
Hey,
the whole Pan is all about scheming and scamming.
Wait a minute, bro. Dinus, since I met you, have we all and our peers as well, including Kala and everybody, have we not all made significant investments in Africa?
I would say we've done. I would say we've done more than the FBA and ADOS.
What's the significant investment?
Stop.
I'm a businessman too. I got a few dollars.
Wait, hold on, bro.
I like a good business deal. What is it?
Dinus, this guy doesn't realize that the reason people watch you.
That ain't what I asked.
The people.
What are we going to get out of it?
Wait a minute, guys. You gotta look. The reason why people watch you, the reason why people suffer me, is because they saw us commit to doing something, and then they saw us do it.
What's the
none of these
I
guys?
can look up
None of these guys can tell you, Dinus, right now. None of these guys can tell you what their 5-year plan for foundational Black Americans or even African Americans is in America.
I can tell you.
Tell us, Bobo.
It's the delineation.
Wow.
This what we saying. This what we saying.
Fucking clown.
Hold on.
You did that already. What's next?
You are a fucking clown, man.
What did I tell you?
You
This
are
what we saying.
clown.
You is different from me. This what we saying. You
You're a
different
fucking
from
clown.
me.
You already said it.
You listen. You different from me. So listen.
So they about to spend
y'all
5
go
years.
on to be the great Americans y'all came here to be, and we gonna be the great Americans.
You're a fucking clown. You
Y'all
ain't great
go on to be
shit,
y'all go on to be the great Americans that y'all flared y'all country to come here to be. We different. That's
That's
what
fine. And what else?
You're a
What's
fucking
next?
clown, bro.
What are you leaving for the next generation?
Notice this though. I gave you something. He didn't give.
You didn't give shit, bro. You just came with some bullshit, some counter movement type shit. You just get in the way.
Business investment. I said, what is it? He didn't say nothing.
Every time this motherfucker talks,
y'all begging. Y'all begging. Y'all begging. Get off your knees.
This man
Get off your knees and
you
be
don't
the
want
proud
begging.
African warriors that
Bro,
you
you don't
are.
want begging for fucking reparations like a little.
Stop begging us. We reject you.
Listen,
we reject you.
This man just
We
said he's
reject
about
you.
to spend 5 years delineating. I keep telling you, no matter how loud these
He's already in.
Hey, no matter how many
y'all put us in your titles.
No matter
bro, you a clown, bro. That's why you just said your whole movement is about trying to get in the way.
We already done with
your whole movement in 5 years just to get away. That's a waste of life. That's just getting away.
I gotta meet y'all. Brandon, you got 30 seconds. I got to pass the mic to Johnny.
Listen, I just proved the point, and that's what I do well. Put people up against the wall and make them stand on it. This man said for the next 5 years, the only plan FBA got is delineation. They're not serious. They're not serious. They're in a bad spot right now because they failed to acquire reparations. So what they're gonna do is go around trying to pick fights and agitate
fights. Our name in the title.
Bro, let him finish. Mute this motherfucker, Dinus.
And agitate other people who are making progress. Between you, Wodi Maya, me, Kala, and just 10 Pan-Africans, we are producing 10 times more than FBA has produced.
What are you producing? What though? What? I gave you something. You
All right, Brandon. Let me pass the mic to Johnny. I gotta pass the mic to Johnny. Go ahead, Johnny.
What are y'all
Go ahead,
producing?
Johnny.
All right, bro. I'll say Bo made a lot
go
of good
next after
points.
him?
Actually, he took a lot of shit I was about to say, man.
Yep.
He's right
What up,
though.
Brandon?
In the whole movement of Pan-Africanism, it has moved leaps and bounds and stuff because we do have advancements that didn't exist in the earlier days of Pan-Africanism of Lumumba.
Like
days
what?
of Lumumba. Bro, shut the fuck up and let me
Like
talk.
what though?
Shut the fuck up, bro. Damn.
Without cussing and getting mad. Like what?
Bro,
That's
I'll
the fair
explain to
question.
you if you let me talk, dumbass. Motherfucker, it's my turn. Shut the fuck up. But anyway, we have advancements like Google Translate. We got advancements like FaceTime and internet where we can connect instantly with people halfway and fully around the world. So that's huge leaps and bounds just right there to being able to communicate in ways that didn't exist back in the day. We have information that we got access to immediately that literally you'd have to go hunting through libraries and shit and word of mouth to have the best chance to even find out half of the stuff that we know now. And I mean, it works both ways because it obviously leaves the way for clown shit to come in too. But Pan-African partnership is most effectively for blacks politically because it shows us and it will give us ways that we could actually use to strengthen our own middle class here in America and abroad. He was talking, I forgot who it was earlier that was talking about like a middle class renaissance. And that kind of stuff can come with what people think about when they actually think about what's going on in the middle class. In this day and age, you can't just focus on a singular regional economy and be middle class. You got to start thinking about things on a global scale, and I think that's where some of these small-minded clowns and stuff kind of lose us at. But economic partnerships, even if it is something that's as far as put your hand down, motherfucker, I'm not calling on you, but even if it is something as far as tourism and travel, we know we have power collectively as far as money goes. With $1 trillion in purchasing power, our innovation, and then our political advocacy and activism, I think personally we're getting bored because we don't have real fights to fight. So we're taking on other people's fights, and dumbasses like fucking whatever his name is, fucking Vuvu Rants, likes to pick fights with each other and shit and try to get
Daddy,
away
you
with
can
stuff.
call me Daddy, but go ahead.
Fuck you. But anyway, bro, I'm sorry, Dynasty, to be cussing so much, man. But
why are you cussing
bro,
so
I'm not
much?
talking to you, bro. I'm not talking.
That you don't have a big vocabulary. You was talking to me. You mentioned me. You like to call my name a lie and then hide.
Shut the fuck up, man.
Stop
Let me finish my talk.
Stop hiding.
Oh,
Come
yeah,
on,
yeah.
Anyway.
Let's watch the tone in the cussing. Let's watch
Can I go
Yeah,
next
man, I
after
apologize for that,
Johnny?
Dynasty, but this
I
clown,
thought
bro.
Africans supposed to be smart.
Okay, well, hold on. Go ahead, Johnny.
All right, but yeah, just a lot of stuff like that, man. I was trying to get to what our power is collectively, our advocacy and our activism and everything like that. That's what we kind of can get as a people, and that's what we kind of move towards. And then you got clowns that's always going to be trying to, fake up some type of obstructionist counter movement and shit, where literally their whole purpose was because they sold out and tried to segregate or delineate, like they like to put it, for money that they thought they was going to get, because these people are obviously low vibrational as it is, and they can't see past getting something for free. And somehow it's convincing their mind that if they turn against all the other black people on earth, that is going to make something better for them. And that's just like the dumbest thing ever. But you got people that are just that stupid and caught up that you could easily manipulate them. And that's what's going on with these clowns. But dude talked earlier had a lot of points, man. He made a lot of stuff I was going to say too. So that was good. On that front, man, it was good to see. Actually, man, we got a lot of stuff in this. And I'm going to just end it on this last point that we talk about with Africans, how they sold us out or whatever, or sold us. Majority, again, I know it did happen. It was such thing as a transatlantic slave trade, and it happened mostly due to conquered tribes and prisoners, and basically the African identity was not the same as we saw it, as far as a unified identity based off of the color of your skin, like a lot of Europeans had started to see at that time. So,
hey, Dennis, can I get in a minute?
Well, I got to pass to Willie. Willie, you there?
Yep, I'm here, Dinus. I was just
No. I said Willie.
Can I go after Maximilian?
Willie.
Yeah,
Willie,
I'm
you
here.
there? Go ahead,
I'm
Willie.
here.
Go ahead.
So one of the biggest problems is, right, and watch this, Dinus, I'm going to see how long it takes you to cut me off, right? Because one of the things that I see that happens with us when we get lost in this Pan-African movement, I see a lot of my own brothers here from America, right, become very anti-American black, right?
Speak on
Everything.
it, man.
I've never heard you once, Dynas, big up Black American culture.
I
Everything's
did.
a joke.
No,
Hold
I
on, hold
have.
on, hold
No,
on.
no, no, no. Hold
I
on, Willie.
told
I
you
have.
it wasn't going to take
No,
me long to
hold
get you to
on,
cut me
hold on.
off.
But Willie,
I haven't heard you say
hold on,
anything,
Willie,
Dynasty.
Willie, I did. I bigged up Clarence Thomas, and you called him a coon.
He is.
See,
I
here's the
remember
point.
that.
Here's the point. You don't even understand that he's not Black culture, right? He's a
He-
Black man.
the
Listen to what I'm
Clarence
saying.
Thomas is Gula
Listen to what
Geechee
I'm
from Savannah.
saying.
He's Black culture.
Listen
He
to what
Black.
I'm saying.
Clarence Thomas is Black excellence.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Clarence Thomas is
And
Black
I want to
excellence.
say it unequivocally. You can't be Black excellence with a white wife.
Can you?
My
Hold on. Let me ask you a question.
number
Willie, hold on,
one. Can I
Willie,
get any?
you ain't
Can
gonna
I
talk
get
over. You
anything
ain't gonna
out?
talk. You ain't gonna talk over me on my show. Can you be Black excellence with a white husband?
No.
Okay,
No,
that's
no.
fair.
I'm not saying Yvette Cornell is Black greatness. I'm not saying that.
No, I'm talking about.
You know Kamala Harris.
Hold on, Willie. I'm talking about Kamala Harris, the lady in the Supreme Court. She got
Kamala
a white
Harris is
husband.
not even Black.
Okay,
You
so
see what I'm saying?
what
You
about
don't even
Willie,
understand
you
Black
ain't gonna
culture.
talk over me, Willie. What about Kataji, whatever her name is, the Supreme
Can
Court?
I
With her
make
white
my
husband?
point before
No,
you
I'm
finish?
asking you. I'm asking you a question. Is
Can
Kataji, whatever
you
her name is?
ask me you ask me questions every time I
No,
get
I'm
my
about to
chance to
ask you.
make
I'm
my
about to
point.
ask you another question. Is the Black lady in the Supreme Court with a white husband, Kataji, whatever her name is she Black excellence?
I just told you to be Black excellence, your job, what you owe your ancestors is to create another Black family. That's the
You hate
paramount
your ancestors.
base. That's the
So
base, right?
can you be? I'm
Can
asking
I
a yes.
make my point?
No, Willie. I'm not gonna let you make. I'm not gonna let you make your point. You answer my question directly. Is whatever her name is, Kataji, whatever.
I don't even
The
know who
Black
that is.
lady.
Can we move on?
You know who she is. Stop playing stupid, Willie.
Ketanji Brown
Can I make
Jackson.
my
Supreme
point?
Court Justice.
Okay,
Can I
what's
make my point?
What's her name, guys?
Ketanji Brown Jackson.
I think it's
Okay,
Brown Jackson.
Willie.
And this is my actual point.
Willie.
When Black American
Willie,
men get
Willie,
lost,
you're not gonna talk over me. Willie, you're not gonna talk over me, Willie. Say her name again, guys. Say her name
Miss
again.
14th Amendment,
Ketanji Brown Jackson.
aka Miss 14th Amendment.
It's Kataji Brown Jackson, the Black lady Supreme Court
again,
with
I
a
don't
white
know her.
husband. Don't play stupid, Willie.
I
But
don't
you
know
know
her.
Clarence Thomas. So
I
you
don't
know
know who
Clarence
she's
Thomas.
married to. I'm not
Willie, stop
concerned with
playing
her.
dumb. Willie, stop playing dumb. So you know.
I just
Hold on,
told
stop.
you
Yeah, I
I'm
don't think
not
he's playing.
Playing
concerned with her.
stupid. Willie, stop playing stupid.
He ain't
Stop
He's
concerned
not
with her.
playing.
Willie.
He's not playing. He's
No,
really
Willie's playing
The dude's really
stupid.
just
So
stupid.
you know Clarence Thomas, but you don't know her.
Exactly.
Don't play stupid, Willie.
he knows who
Can I make my
Tariq
point now?
told him to hate. That's
Okay,
it.
but Willie,
Stop being a Latino,
Willie,
Willie.
I'm asking a
Stop
question.
doing that
Willie,
Latino.
I'm asking a question, Willie.
I answered
Kataji,
you 10 times.
no, I want a yes or a no. I want a yes or a no.
It's whatever
Kata-
you say she is. Because
No,
like I told you,
Willie,
I
I want a
don't
yes or
know
no.
her.
No,
I don't.
you're not dancing around. I see the games you playing, Willie. I ain't stupid. I'm asking you a question.
I
All
told
right.
you I don't know her. I
Okay,
don't know her
I'm
background.
about to pull her up. I'm gonna mute you and pull her up right now. Okay. And
Pull
I
up when
want
she
you to
was
yes
talking
or
about
no.
the 14th Amendment. She
No,
want to change the
Do I
14th
ever
Amendment.
get to go back
Bobo.
to making my point?
No, you're not, because you're gonna answer this question yes or no, and then we're gonna move on. Because I know the game you play. Kataji, what's her name? Here we go. Kataji Brown Jackson. All right, let me pull her up with her white husband. Hold on. Here we go.
So then I already answered the question.
No, I want a
I
yes.
said you can't be married to a colonizer and be Black excellence. Didn't I already say that?
No, but I want you to be specific. Hold on.
I was
Hold on, Willie.
specific. How much
Willie,
more
Willie,
specific can I
That's a
be?
specific
If
answer,
she
Dynasty.
has a white
you
husband,
gonna be specific today, Willie. You
if
ain't
she
dancing. I
has a
want a yes
white
or no.
husband,
I want a
she
yes
does
or
not
no.
represent
I
Black
want a yes
excellence.
or no.
You want me to say it in Swahili?
No, it's Ketanji
I want to
Brown
hear this Swahili.
Jackson. Hold on, it's Ketanji Brown Jackson. Is she Black excellence? Yes or no?
Again. I'm
No,
gonna say it as
really,
simple as I can
it's
say it.
it's a yes or
Right.
no question, Willie.
Right.
It's
This is
Ketanji.
the anti-blackness that I'm talking about with you.
Oh
That was the
Lord,
point
it's
I
a
was trying
yes
to make.
or no question, Willie. It's
No.
Ketanji
No.
Brown Jackson.
No.
Huh?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Now, we're gonna argue about that for another 15 minutes, or now may I speak?
Go ahead and speak. Go ahead.
One of the worst parts about the effects of Pan-Africanism on black people is you. You are
No.
fundamentally anti-black American.
I
All I
like
hear,
I like Eric Carmen.
hold on. Can I make
Hold
my
on.
point?
Another
Can I make
black
my
excellence.
point?
Hold on.
Right? See, we start saying crazy things like when we start talking about integration, right? Understand, people wanted to be able to take their babies to a hospital. I'm not faulting anyone, right, that wants to take advantage of a system that is utilizing their tax dollars. So what we start to do is make real goofy arguments, and we just want to toss around a lot of blame. If you really want to do work, right, put the blame on what you focus on and let me handle Volvo. I'll tell you he's a goofy, right?
Thank
But
you.
what I'm saying is, what
We can agree on something.
critique your own, right? I do understand a lot of his arguments. I don't totally disagree with everything he says.
But
I
you
just
agree he's
know
a clown, though, right?
I just know he's the last person that should be our spokesman, right?
Right.
But the reality is y'all
Yeah,
don't
he's a
want to
troll.
talk to me. Y'all don't want to talk to me because I'm gonna say something real, and then you want to keep going back and forth about Katanji when I said, for me,
Willie, you
right?
won't even show
My
your face.
primary,
You're from
my
Barbados.
primary
How you go? You're
focus,
from Barbados.
my
You're an
Goofy, let him
immigrant.
primary
talk.
focus in America is the black family in America. So no, if you are out here marrying white folk, if you are out here bunny hopping, right? No, you are not a part of what I consider excellence for my people, right? But look at the division it even causes between us, let alone all the confusion and division over there, right? It's a giant blame game. No one has empathy, much less respect for the other side. This is why I'm out of it. This is why I would just rather get my money and go golf. Period. And at this point,
The
for
white man
me,
invented golf.
who cares, bro?
I can't have a white wife. You
Wall
can't
Street
play a white man's
Willie.
sport. If
Wall
I can't have
Street
a
Willie,
white
I
wife,
can't
you
believe
can't
You're
Let me say this, right?
comparing me
Gucci.
playing PlayStation to me
Hey,
marrying
Dennis,
a
can I
white
get in
woman.
so I can
Gucci,
go?
your cup
Are
don't gotta
y'all
be that
insane?
big, Gucci.
Brandon, he
Are
worships
y'all
white
Your cup
people all
don't
the
insane?
gotta be
time.
that
I mean, he
big.
worships Donald
You
Trump.
don't need a
Are
cup
y'all
that big.
insane?
You need to cut back, man. You need to start drinking smalls, man. You drinking extra large big gulps. Come on, man. That's why you
You
weight up there,
sound
man.
dumb, dick
water, you
sucker.
idiot.
Goodness.
Wall
You
Street
sound
He's a
Willie.
Trump
stupid, dick
worshiper.
sucker.
It's
I
water.
didn't know you had those views,
He
Wall Street
sucks Trump's
Willie.
dick.
What is this
I can't
goofball talking about?
I can't believe you're saying that. I didn't know you had those views because you're on point with a lot of things. But
Yeah.
to say that Pan Africanists are the cause of problems, I have to disagree and
I'm not
say that
saying all, my brother. I'm not including my mother in that. I'm not including Larock Bay School of Dance.
You just going after Diners.
I'm
I'm not
including that.
including the Senegalese, Alvin Ailey. I'm not including them. What I'm saying is people who have the rhetoric that I see my brother use. Think about this for a second, right?
Mama.
He knows we use that N-word. He knows many of us don't view it the way we viewed it before, right? He knows it's a part of our culture, right?
No,
But
see,
you can
hey,
say,
you're proving
but
my
look,
point.
He's
you
about to
can
prove your
say
point, bro.
bitch
Let him talk.
You just
or
proved my
He's
point,
about to
slut.
prove
Willie.
your point.
You just
Listen.
proved my point
You can
about Black
say
American
bitch,
culture. You just proved my
fuck,
point. You just
everything
proved my
else.
point.
Listen to my point though. You can say bitch, fuck, everything else. You won't penalize that. You penalize the one word that many blacks claim they're redefining. That
Oh
is
Lord.
anti-black. That is
Redefining.
anti-black
Oh
American.
Lord. Oh
That's a
Lord.
fact.
But we
and
do
this
have
is
a
how I
culture of
go.
mixed
Hold
things.
on.
Bro, what does that word mean
Positive.
compared to the other
When
ones?
We
it was
could
first
not
negative.
use that word and be better
My
for
Yeah,
it.
come
brother,
on,
listen to
man.
what
This
I'm
clown is
saying, my
gonna try to
brother. I
defend.
don't
You
subscribe
almost
to
had
that.
it, bro. You
I
I
don't
almost
just
had
paid
it.
a
subscribe to
fine.
listen. No, listen to what I'm saying. I don't
I just paid my
subscribe to that
fine.
word
Nah,
either.
you already. Come on, bro.
I don't subscribe to that word either.
African
But
Americans constantly
So
moving
what
the
why are you trying to
goalposts.
defend the use of it?
I'm not defending the
You
use
are
of it.
defending
You
it, bro.
did. You just
Can I
said it's
answer
part of
you?
the culture. You just said it's
I
the
can answer
culture.
you, my brother.
You proved my point.
It is a
I can,
part of
I
culture,
can
brother.
answer
Turning
you,
a
my
negative
brother.
thing
You
into a
proved my
positive,
point.
I
and
can
and
answer you, my
also
brother.
has something to do with context.
He
Now
knows
we
a
got
lot of
everybody
black
begging to be that. We got
American men
everybody
Well,
begging.
they need to
We
use
got
elevate
that term.
themselves, bro. We
white
can't
boy.
be
We got
talking
the
like that. We're trying to
Almighty
have
Whitey. Almighty
constructive
Whitey calling
conversations.
himself that.
Can I make my point though?
You're not.
Make your point,
People
Willie.
trying.
You got 30 seconds. Don't
Let me.
interrupt. Go
All
ahead.
right. So let me ask you this, right? If
Go
you
ahead.
can say fuck, shit, everything else, and not be penalized for that, why do
Mhm.
you choose to penalize one word?
Hey, Ninus, I'm a cash app you $10 for potty mouth today, bro. That was out of character for me.
Yeah,
Okay,
give me
But my brother, though,
because
you hear what I'm saying?
Willie, I believe it's a word that should not be used.
And I can
That's my
respect
point.
that.
Now, if you from the culture and grandma say don't use that word, you better not use that word. If you
And
from
I
the
don't-
culture, so
and
that's
I-
why I respect that. If Uncle Jun say I don't want to hear y'all saying that word in there,
I never got a chance to even build on my point.
Okay,
I
well, you
never
got
got a
30,
chance
Willie,
to
you
make
got
my
30
actual
seconds, Willie.
point. But I'm gonna go back on mute till y'all ready to talk to me.
No, Willie, go
But
ahead.
I
Willie,
never
you
got a
30
chance to make my point.
No, keep
Willie,
your ass
hold
on
on,
mute,
God, be
bro.
quiet. Willie, you got 30 seconds. Make your point. Nobody interrupt.
I mean, it's just problematic on both sides. And so my thing is, as someone in America, right, a black man that actually hires to a major corporation, right? When y'all figure out all this division, then come get me. When
Hey,
y'all
could I say
figure
something
out,
real
when
quick
y'all
though, bro?
figure
No,
out
man,
how to,
let Willie
when
finish.
y'all
Oh, my bad. I
figure
wanted to
out
just comment
how
on
to
that, but go ahead.
stop disrespecting each other, when y'all figure out how to have some empathy for each other, then you come get me. Until then, yes, I will be playing the white man's sport with my black wife.
nobody
Okay.
came and got
And
you
I'll
this
land
time.
there.
You click the link.
Let me ask you this, bro. Let me ask you this though before you land. Do you use the N-word when you out with the white colleagues and stuff in these corporate meetings and stuff that you have?
I try not to use it with my brothers.
Okay, but you can use fucking shit and all that. Sorry, Donis, but you can use all that around them, can't you? You see how one word is different, how it has a taboo meaning and stuff, especially when it's in certain cultural contexts and is brought into like mainstream. You see the difference with that?
But here's my
What
point,
does
my
it mean
brother.
in your
I'm asking
homeland?
you, bro.
Here's my
I'm
point, my
asking
In
you.
your
brother.
homeland, what
Here's
No,
my
does it mean?
point, my brother.
let Willie
Right?
talk. Let
In a
Willie talk.
circle of black men, right? I do find it weird that this is the only word that's penalized, right?
That you didn't answer my
See,
question, but okay.
no, what I'm saying, yes, you can use all types of curses. To be honest, I try not to use certain language when I want to be respected in any arena. So I'm not gonna say certain things if I go to church. I'm not gonna say certain things when I'm with my large brothers. I'm not gonna say certain things when I'm in front of that cracker.
Okay, but in a
Period.
but in a setting though, like let's say you were having a corporate setting and stuff, I'm
My
sure that
brother,
things got heated, man. When you're talking about money, or maybe you having a dinner after you had a meeting and y'all are talking and stuff, and there's language and stuff through around. Am I right?
no.
Okay.
I'll tell
Well,
you.
I mean, in
I'll tell
my
you a quick
experience,
story. I'll
go
tell
ahead.
you a quick story.
Quick
Right.
story, and I gotta read these super chats.
So my when I was in a different role, right? I had one of the highest grossing sales teams. We were like number 2, right? My team, I hired like 4. No, first person I hired was Belinda. I hired a black woman. I hired 4 brothers. I hired a mixed kid and then another brother, right? So now I'm at this dinner and I'm, sitting here having my meal and we're talking about the business and all of that. So I feel it. I know the white boy is about to ask me, hey, Wall Street Willie, why is your team all black? And I looked him right in his eyes and I said, I don't know. Why is your team all white? And I went back to eating my steak, right? What I'm saying is when I want to be respected for the point that I'm making, I use a certain language, right? But we're getting away from the fact that something that I would agree we are trying to heal from, right? And not be comfortable with that term anymore. Why is that the only thing that's penalized here? It's like if we're penalizing negative language, penalize it all, right? But no,
Because it's
just that
ignorant,
good
brother.
old N word that
It's
black
ignorant.
Americans,
It's ignorant.
unfortunately, are
Because it's
still
Well, hey,
ignorant.
saying.
man. I
It's
mean, that's
all
part of it.
ignorant.
That's a start, though,
It's
right?
all ignorant.
So, what else should be penalized? I'm just curious what you think else should be penalized.
Any type of disrespect to another brother, that should be considered treason, right? We should be able to have the decorum to actually say, all right, I may not agree with you, but let's make our points, right?
I respect that. We
Hey,
can't
White
Dennis,
disagree,
folks
but we
can't
Dennis,
can't
can I
even
disagree.
speak
do
so I can
that.
go?
I gotta
If
read
we
these.
can't even
I
do
got. Oh
that,
no, but I gotta read these super chats now. Let me read these super chats. W. Mustafa, thank you for the $2 holla. FBA established 2022. Del Monte Green Beans, thank you for the $5 holla. Is y'all man's making a tuna fish sandwich on break? Thank you for the $5 holla. Ken M, thank you for the £2. Thank you for your info. Ken M, thank you for the £2 who doing the selling now. I don't know what that is. Let me pass it to Shaw. Go ahead, Shaw.
Okay, so even
I
just
thought
with
it
the
was next
penalty,
turn.
I haven't spoken yet. Even with the penalty of the N word, right? It's getting us to talk about, all words and respecting each other. So I think it's a start. And whether the host of this space wants to expand it or not, that's his rules. And if we don't like the rules, then we can, But I think that to make the statement that African embracing Pan-African people who embrace Pan-Africanism, Black folks, tend to move away from honoring being Black American, I think is not correct. It's not true. And there's some other things that were said earlier on when the space first opened up. And I was trying to remember what it was saying. Wall Street Willie was saying, and I wanted to comment on it. But basically, the answer that I had was that as Pan Africanists, we've been doing things. There's generational stuff I'm seeing. If you're in Chicago area, Muntu Dance Theater, right? African dance. They also did Lindy Hop and swing. Have been around since the 70s. Now they've got it's still around. It's still going. They got another group called Ayodeli Dance and Drum. So these different dance communities and traditional dance and drum communities are connected with other African American groups, they modern and jazz and stuff like that. But they're in not every state, but they're in all the big cities. New York, Maimuna Keita
My mother
Dance.
was a part of the Larock Bay School of Dance. So I'm
Okay,
with you.
so there you go. So those people embrace Pan-Africanism, and it's all over the country. And if you put all of those people together with all of the community around them, we're probably at least 20, maybe 10,000 people, maybe more than 10,000. Extended, and that's significant. For the Black community. With these things, they're generation. We're talking about going back to Chuck Davis time, Dennis Zulu, Chief Bay, all of these people. And I'm just saying that those are older generations. Even in the Bay Area, Oakland is kicking with the arts. This is how I got involved in Pan Africanism and into spirituality, African spirituality, and in politics,
But look,
and
bro.
Black studies,
But
and
look,
Black
bro.
studies.
Now I'm
So,
with you. But look,
so
peep this,
all of
right?
these.
Back to the title though. The title is about why is Black America moving away from Africa, right? And I'm telling you, I was raised by a Pan-African family, right? I grew up playing the djembe, just banging on it as a child. You get what I'm saying? Like, I have a great reverence for Marcus Garvey and his beautiful tether movement called the UNIA that does parades all through my neighborhood where Black men dress up prominently and proudly, right? I was raised by this.
Yeah, you
I'm
too young for
saying
that.
what
You
I
too
what
young
I
for that. Knock
what
that
I'm
off.
Bro,
saying
let him
is
talk.
what
You
I'm
too young for
saying
that.
is the UNI parade still goes on till this day. Right
They
down
ain't all
7th,
dressed up like how
right
they
Bro,
was
down
let him
dressed up
talk.
7th
back
Shut the
then,
fuck
though,
up.
Avenue
man.
in Harlem. Goofy.
And they got on
Anyway.
those suits and all that type of stuff like
Your
back in
own
the day.
Yes,
It's a
Goofy.
your
bunch of
own kid
motherfuckers
is
Yes.
out there
calling you
with
goofy,
red,
bro. That's
black,
how
and
you
green
know you
tags. Knock it off,
clown.
man.
Yes. When our
Let him talk.
lodge, yes, when our lodge walks in that parade, yes, we're suited and booted. Anyway, right? I was raised in this. What I'm saying is partly it comes from the frustration that I know my people have from dealing with Africans here in America. We're always gonna have a different argument because guess what never happens? There's no Jamaican
Are you a
community in
Mason? Are you a
Nigeria.
Mason, bro?
Hold on,
Are you a
hold on.
Mason?
There's
Are you a
no
Mason?
No, he's
there's
Barbadian.
there's no Jamaican
You keep saying his
community
lies.
in
Keep saying his
Nigeria.
lies.
Hold on, listen. There's
Are,
no
are you a Mason?
Yo, I'm not gonna answer all these
Barbadian.
questions.
I
You
am
got
a
a
Barbadian.
lot
Mason.
of
I am a
questions.
Mason.
I
So
just want to make
I'm
my
asking.
point.
I'm
Let's
asking.
just have
You
a
keep saying
dialogue.
your lodge.
Let's just have a dialogue.
Yeah,
Are
he
you?
mentioned
Are
that.
you a Mason?
I'm a part of a fraternal order.
Well, you know you should not be saying no bullshit like that as a Mason.
Like what?
So cut that out.
Bull like what?
We're not separatists, brother. Every man is equal with us. Now you know better than that. If that's what you're talking about.
Listen, this is not what this is. That was not the point I was making, right?
Are you a Mason?
I'm getting diverted from
Are
my
you a
point.
Mason? Yes or
I'm
no?
getting diverted from my point,
Well, you
right?
get your ass on your point when it comes to my
Purposely,
craft.
purposely, right? Because I'm making very simple points. To the title of the show, why is Black America moving away from Africa and Pan-Africanism? I'm throwing that last part in. I'm telling you that me, someone that has a deep, rich history of being raised in the Pan-African movement, a lot of things are starting to deject me. And I've
You
gotten
keep
to the
you
point,
keep
and I've
saying my
got,
lies. You keep saying my lies, though, brother.
yo, bro, Masons aren't the only ones that have lodges. And clearly,
I'll make sure. Let's make sure you're not one of us.
I told you, I'm not trying to go into certain specifics, right? This is a very public forum.
But Masons,
If you and I
say
were
lies.
speaking,
You're not a Mason. We don't speak that way.
again, if you and I were speaking in a
You
different,
cannot talk to me. You're not a Mason.
Rosicrucians have a lodge.
Now I'm gonna let you talk. I'm gonna be quiet. But I want to make sure y'all know he's not a Mason when he keeps saying that.
yeah, right, we'll go with that.
There
right?
are other lodges.
So again, right. So
Well, let's just make sure we're
but
clear
my
with
point
that.
is that's irrelevant, right?
All right, I want to hear you. I want to hear what turned you off from Pan-Africanism, though.
So for one, it's the point I
The
was
African.
making.
Man, make it real simple.
Bro, let him talk. Shut up, clown.
It's not just that.
Why he get the hog the mic?
So
Goofy, because he's making a point.
All right, I'm
he
gonna
ain't
go
being a
back
clown
on.
like you.
Jesus Christ.
I think
Go
it
ahead,
sounds like a lot of this is based on personal experiences.
No, it ain't.
It's you know
I
what
want
it
to hear his
sounds
point,
like?
though. What was he getting?
Yeah,
at?
finish your point, bro.
Hearing a lot of young
My point is very simple, right?
African-American men
If y'all
saying,
can't keep me on the train, right? If
Yeah,
y'all
but
can't
why
keep
not,
me on
though?
the
Like, why not?
Pan-African train, you can forget about the rest of America. I was
No,
raised,
bro, I want to know why,
and
though.
I'm gonna land right there.
But why,
I think
though?
it
You didn't
creates
explain why
confusion.
why.
Y'all gonna let Lewis talk, then I'm gonna go because Lewis ain't spoken. I've been
Oh, no.
I've been running the order now.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's
then
all
I'm
right,
after
man. I'm
Maximilian.
okay for now, bro.
Hey, Donis, can I
We
speak?
the ones
And then I'm
that
gonna leave.
we the reason why y'all like this. We the scholars.
Hey,
we're
can I
the
speak?
we're
Bro,
the
shut up,
Francis
clown.
Press Wilsons.
Hey, Donis.
We're the
Goofy, it ain't your turn, Goofy.
no,
It ain't your turn, Goofy.
scholars. We're the Martin Luther
It ain't your
King.
turn, Goofy.
We're the goddamn
It ain't your
Chancellor
turn,
Williams.
Goofy. Let Maximilian speak.
Y'all
Goofy, it
got
ain't
this
your
from
turn,
us.
Goofy.
It's about what we say. We done with this. Period. Now
Nobody
all the
asked you,
lost
Goofy.
dark-skinned people can pick this up because that's all it's about now. A bunch of motherfuckers
Nobody
that ain't about
asked
to go
you,
to
Goofy.
Africa, that's scattered all throughout the
It
world.
ain't your
They
turn,
ain't about to
Goofy.
go to
I
Africa.
can
They ain't
answer
about
your
to do nothing.
question.
It ain't
His
nothing but
name
There's no
Donis,
questions
his
from
name
Goofy.
was Thomas Sankara.
Bucci.
His job is just to
Okay.
get in the way, bro.
Hey, let's
It's
take turns.
Bucci,
Donis is
Donis,
not here. Donis is not here. Let's take
yeah,
turns.
it's Bucci, it's Donis, it's Dr. Umar Johnson, and a bunch of lost dark-skinned people. That's Pan-Africanism today. Nobody's
Nobody
going
talking
back to
about
Okay,
it. It
Africa.
let
ain't your
Bobo
turn,
make his
Goofy.
submission now
Okay.
then. Let him
It's Lewis's
finish.
turn. It's Lewis's turn.
If you think that Pan-Africanism is about a few people on YouTube, then obviously you're mistaken. You have no idea what Pan-Africanism is.
I don't think you were listening to me, my brother.
Let him speak, brother.
No.
And
I'm
I
talking about
told you I
Bobo.
was
I grew
Bro,
up
you
with
got
that.
Goofy getting in
I
the
grew
way,
up
bro.
with
You getting
this.
making a point.
I grew up with this.
Nobody asked you what you grew up with, Goofy. You need therapy,
my
bro.
grandfather had a Pan-African flag.
Nobody asked you about your grandfather, bro.
Whoa, bro.
You need
Let
therapy.
Lewis make his
Lewis has
point,
not
y'all.
interrupted anybody. Lewis has
Let
not
Lewis
interrupted
talk.
anybody.
Fly this flag.
Let him speak, brother. Lewis ain't interrupted
Y'all
nobody.
killed this.
Just like you want to talk, Bobo, let Lewis speak, please.
Pan-Africanism is the symbol of the biggest success that we as Black people in modern times have had. Okay? The independent movement war that we had in Africa is because of Pan-Africanism. Okay? All the foundation that we've got, that we based on Pan-Africanism. We're not going to throw it that way because a couple of people on YouTube want to do the coolest thing ever and delineate whatever it is.
Most
Right?
men
Pan-Africanism is
Let
bigger
the
than me and you.
man, let him speak.
Don't
Let the man
interrupt.
speak.
Don't
Can y'all
interrupt,
allow
y'all.
him, the man, to speak? He did not interrupt anybody.
I mean, my brother,
Stop
but you
interrupting him.
interrupted me. Like,
But you
come
interrupted
on, we
me.
gotta.
Man,
I'm
you had
saying,
two turns.
listen.
You had two,
I
three,
don't
four
disagree
turns.
with you, but
You
I'm
had your
saying,
turn,
like,
though,
be
brother.
Lewis
about it.
had the floor. At
Show that
least
same
Donis is my
decorum.
boy.
let
Donis is
Lewis
my
speak,
boy.
y'all. Come on,
Let
y'all.
Lewis speak. Come on.
Pan-Africanism is bigger than all of us. So whether you like it or not, whether you're going to join it or not, or leave it or not, it still carries on. It's even got more steam than before. And the reason why people are in here trying to kill it is because you're directly doing the work of your masters who sent you. You guys
All
are
right.
joke to me. You ain't
All right,
getting
but
on the
look, my brother,
Pan-Africanism.
He's got the
the
right to
whole,
speak. Give the
Here's
the
man
the
his
whole
time.
purpose of the
You
Willie.
title
sound like a
is
proper
Wall Street
English
Willie.
gentleman
Wall
talking
Street
about we the
Willie.
is
joke.
Hey,
You
Donis.
Let
diamond
him,
in
sound like a
let him
proper
America.
finish.
English
That's a
gentleman
fact.
talking about
Let
we
the
the joke.
man
He's
finish.
not even
Let him
And
English.
everybody
finish.
cut me
Let him
off.
finish.
Y'all ain't gonna
Let
He's
him
in
finish.
England
interject
Let
talking
me
him
about we the
finish.
when
joke.
I'm
You're in
interjecting
England talking
too.
about
Right.
Pan-Africanism.
That's
Fuck
going
out
to
of
show
here,
you.
man.
Let the man finish. finish.
Listen,
He didn't interrupt any
The
of you all. Stop interrupting
first,
him.
Everybody interrupted me.
the first
Every time I
Pan-African
start
Nobody
talking,
interrupt anybody.
It's a
Go ahead, Louis.
famous Pan-African meeting that took place in Birmingham with all the top black students at the time. Okay, even the man who started Vietnam attended. Okay,
what are you talking about?
Pan-Africanism started with the likes in Africa with the likes of Uhuru Kenyatta, Nkrumah, many others, Nzukwe, many others, and what they set out to do came to pass a few years down
There
the
was a
road.
conversation of Pan-Africanism
Right.
before those men were even born.
Thank
Are
you
you gonna
very
let
much.
did that
We
man
black
interrupt your
people,
brother?
right? We black people are
You did.
spiritual people. We are spiritual people, okay? And our spirits are even going to live on longer than us physically. So if you think you're going to get rid of Pan-Africanism because you want to delineate, because you heard of Tariq Nasheed and some woman, lesbian called whatever her name is, you just mistaken. You just
Did you hear about the story that happened with a certain group of Pan-Africanists went to Luther and eventually to Luther Russia?
You clearly weren't listening.
Are
to
you
me,
finished,
brother.
Lewis? Are you
You
finished,
clearly
Lewis?
weren't listening. to me.
Lewis, let me ask
Okay,
Lewis a question.
Lewis is
Lewis,
finished.
do you have
Maximilian.
any Grey Poupon?
There's
Sorry?
no order.
Do
Stop,
you have
stop,
any Grey
stop,
Poupon?
Bruh.
I can hear you, brother.
Grey
We
Poupon,
Bro,
got
do
don't
you
pay
have any?
attention to this goofy, bro. Don't
He's
pay
a
Bruh.
Have I
attention
had
to
a
goofball.
goofy?
But
Can
that's
we have
because
Don't
he's
be
order?
a
Do you
goofy,
have
bro.
any Grey
Don't listen to
Poupon?
this
because
fucking
he's the
bro.
Let's have
low hanging fruit.
He
Y'all
understands
always
what I'm
let him
saying,
look
man. I'm
stupid.
talking to him in
That's
London.
why
Nobody
y'all want
gives
to
a
talk to
fuck,
him.
Jesus
Vuvu.
Christ.
Do
It
you
ain't
have
your
any Grey Poupon?
it ain't your turn to
Hey,
Hang on, let
talk.
Louis,
me
Shut
turn
the
up
Louis.
fuck up.
so I can hear you
Hey,
properly.
bruh,
Do I have
bruh.
any what?
If we're
Don't
gonna have
listen to that
dialogue,
goofy.
you have to have order, bruh. We have to have order.
Do I have
Everybody
any what,
can.
brother? Say it
Don't
slowly.
listen to him, bro. He's
Louis,
just
you
being
got
goofy. You can't let this
Louis, you
clown
got.
get no
Stop
attention, bro.
speaking
I'm
over the
telling
man. You can't keep
You
calling.
guys can't even
Let's
share the
give the man.
fucking mics like with
Louis, you
each
got 30
other.
seconds. Go ahead. Go
Thank
ahead,
you.
Louis.
Wow.
Listen,
Yes, please have order. Have decor, bruh.
listen. You cannot break this. Listen, you know how important your people have been to us on the continent.
Yeah,
Do you
I
know
do.
what it meant to us on the continent when Ali came to Ghana?
And that's a big reason why I don't feel like it's been a two-way street. Black
Right.
Americans
Listen,
haven't
hang on,
Let
benefited
him
from
hang
finish, Willie.
on,
Let
Pan-Africanism.
him
brother.
finish, man.
Hang
Let him
on.
finish.
Cut the crap.
Okay,
Let
I've
him finish.
only
Louis,
mentioned
hey, Louis,
specifically.
Louis,
Yeah,
don't ask the question. You ask the question, you invite people to come in.
yeah,
Just
I
make
spoke.
it.
I spoke.
Hey
Listen,
guys, real quick. Hold on, real quick,
Thank you,
guys. Hit
Dennis.
the
Thank
like
you,
button
Dennis.
again.
Good Lord.
Please.
Thank you,
I
Dennis.
had stepped away for a second. Please hit the like button again. Please hit that like button. Hit that like button. Roll image. Have you spoke yet? Roll image.
Nope.
Go ahead, roll image.
And I was next, Dennis, somewhere in here.
yeah, thank
Okay,
you.
go ahead, roll image.
Yeah, I was next too.
I go after
You ain't nothing.
Maximilian.
Yeah. Go ahead, roll image.
With the title, I don't think there is ever a time in history where black people ever said they were black or all band together. Said they were African. It was just couple of musicians in the 80s and 90s, and they were not the popular on the blocks anyways. So there's never been a time where the majority of black in totality has said that they were African or had the African identity. It was just a few of them. It wasn't the whole black people that ever had that identity or perspective.
That
I,
is correct.
That's
I
That's
wrong.
would
not
say
that's
That's
not
though,
wrong.
correct. How many
I
black
would
That's
people
say
you
to
wrong.
know?
that though,
Is
Okay,
he
hold on,
done?
Pan-Africanism was
let me excuse me. Hold on.
Pan-Africanism definitely was the
Hold on.
cornerstone for
Hey,
a lot
y'all,
of our
let roll
movement.
image. Roll image ain't done yet. Go roll image.
It's not Pan Africanism. That's not what the title says. So if it was New York, then we can say okay, fine, New York was the one that was pushing that identity. It wasn't the whole of America.
I
Right?
got you.
Again, we got that from hip hop, right? That's all I'm trying to say. There's never been a time where in America, the black people in America have said, we identify as African, we're going to rock that shikis and all of that stuff. It was a few groups of people.
The
And the
only thing I
people,
would add though, brother,
hold on. Let me finish. And the
Jesus.
people that was running the music plantation didn't even want that identity to even reach the masses. So they even cut that out and they pushed a new perspective to the people, right? So it has never been a major thing for the people. It's never been. Maybe now people are talking about it more, but to accept it as an identity, it has never been.
No, I
But what
do
about in our
remember. I
names,
do
bro?
remember
What
in
about
the
in our
Senate.
literal names? A lot of
In the
black people have names that are inspired from African languages.
I have an African name.
Hey,
No,
Dennis,
but
can I
that's
get in
not the
before I leave, bro?
majority. I'm saying the majority.
That's
It's
the
not the
majority. I'll say at
majority.
least half of the black people, if not the majority, have African inspired names.
Well, what I wanted to point out
What's an
though,
African inspired name?
what I
Voco
wanted
is
to
an
Let's
point
say
out,
African
hold
like
inspired
on, real
let's
name.
say
quick.
like Kintaji.
I
Voco
Kintaji
is
is
an
did
an
want to
African
example.
point out
inspired
the
Come
name.
fact that
on.
I wanted
That's
to
just an
point out the
example.
fact that Pan Africanism was the cornerstone for a lot of our great groups, like the Panthers, right? They looked back to Africa as an ideal and something that they wanted to push to have an effect in. Like if you're talking about Stokely Carmichael, he then becomes Kwame Ture, right?
Thank you.
No, but
So
they were the educated elite,
I think
though.
wasn't he
We're
They were
Trinidadian?
the
talking just regular
educated elite.
people.
Hey,
Like
Dennis, can
my
I get in?
family. I have brothers and sisters with African
It has
names.
never been
We're
the
from America.
majority.
No, it's not.
That's because you
I,
African,
I, I
bruh.
can
Duh.
agree with
You
that.
both have brothers and
Bro,
American.
I
Duh.
would agree with that.
Royal thing. I think you're
Hey,
showing your age with this
hey,
statement.
brothers, can I get my turn? You know,
What'd you
I
say,
don't,
Lewis?
I don't interrupt people. Y'all notice I do not do that.
You
And
interrupted me
well, brother,
multiple times.
be brotherly. And I've heard you,
Right.
brother. I heard you
I'll
for
show
30 minutes.
decorum.
And nobody said them. I'm gonna finish with this because I gotta go to Cinco de Mayo. But I'm gonna say this part, brother. I love you FBA's brothers, but I want the African people. 50% of these people on this channel is Africans, and so I'm trying to build with y'all. When you see a man on the continent, he doesn't feel that way. These people do not speak for us, and I want every African to hear us. Most African Americans do not feel this way. These men have a problem with their own selves. They have not accomplished what they need to accomplish. They want to blame it on Africa. If you're a failure, it's your fault. You see what's on my name, Maximilian. I built myself. I don't blame it on my people. That's what I got is what I got. Stop blaming stuff on Africa. If you ain't nothing, you are nothing no way. There's a lot of people starving in Africa that are just working their asses off in Ghana, Sierra Leone. You think what you got a problem? Go to Africa and go to Sierra Leone and see what they dealing with. Stop blaming that shit on other people. You're responsible for yourself. Those are our brothers. And I'm not going to allow anybody as a Pan-African to speak against my brothers like that. You are
I
responsible
disagree.
for yourself. Let me finish. Whoever whatever his name is, that Negro probably ain't never been to Africa. And he would not be allowed.
No, he's been to
So
Africa.
when you let
Yeah,
me
that's the one
finish.
thing.
Let me finish.
How you know
So
he been to Africa?
Bro, let
let
him
me
finish.
finish.
Because he
Let
has
me
He went to
finish.
Zimbabwe.
Bro,
There's
Let
He's
me,
been to
bro,
Zimbabwe.
brother, can I
Y'all,
please
y'all
finish?
fans. Y'all
bro, let him
fans. I
finish.
know
Can
he
I
been to
please
Africa. I
finish?
know
Let
he.
him finish.
When you see a black man from Africa, an African American on the streets, we do not believe that. We love y'all. Y'all are brothers and we're sisters. I don't believe what these people, whatever gripe you got, brother, your failure is your failure. Stop blaming that
I
on
have no
Africa. Don't
Real
failures.
shit, man.
let me finish. I love my African people and they love me. And if you don't love each other, why are you here? Because it's 50% black and it's 50% Africans. We love each other. And I'm
Read
not
the
trying
title.
to let
Bro,
me
let him
finish.
finish.
Let me finish. And I don't like divisiveness
I
when it
wish
comes
y'all
to my
let me
own
finish once.
people, and I do not like vulgar people. That shows me enough about FB. I'm gonna finish. I'm gone. How vulgar y'all. The way y'all speak with women that's on this page right now, cursing, bitches, hoes. That is not a way of man. You will never see an African speak
God
that way.
wouldn't even let us speak
Bro,
like
let
that.
him
That's a
finish,
lie.
Goofy.
That's a lie.
Finish. Let me finish. Go to Africa and see do you see a man speaking that way on the street. You are vulgar people. So you're not Pan-African. Y'all are vulgar ass people. And I have no respect for you. You cannot go to Africa talking that way.
How you know?
Bro,
Because
let
You
him
ain't never
finish,
been there.
Goofy.
Because
You
I've
ain't
been.
never been there. You ain't been
Will you
there.
never be
You said
accepted
you
to
ain't
We
been
don't know
there.
where he
Brother,
been.
I was in Sierra Leone.
Oh my God.
Goofy.
Hey, Donis, just for the record, Donis
Goofy.
would never.
Jesse been to Africa, by
Donis
the way.
would
He's been
never
to
let us
Liberia.
say
Okay,
little
who's
bitch
next?
go up here and be
Who's next?
like that.
Guys, I had to step away. What happened? What happened?
Donis.
Maximilian finish, and the next person.
Hold on, wait.
Let me go after
Maximilian
I
finish.
can't hear, man. I
Max
can't
told a
hear.
lie.
I
Max
can't
told a
hear.
lie. Max told a lie
Maximilian
and
finish,
said
and now we're ready for
saying,
the next person, Dinas.
Max just told a lie and said
please,
that
I
we
can't.
saying bitch and hoe and talking to the women, calling them bitches and hoes.
Ooh.
Donis would never
Can
allow
I
that.
finish?
He'll let you say
Maximilian
anything about
finish,
black
and we're ready
Americans.
for the next
He ain't about to
speaker.
allow that. Come on now,
Can I
knock it off,
finish?
man. You just made that
Can I
up.
finish?
Goofy, it ain't your turn. Let him finish.
Donis.
Yeah, go ahead,
Donis
Max
knows
Miller.
it. There's no excuse for the vulgar language you young men use with ladies on these pages. If you go to Africa and you say something like you end up in a jailhouse, people don't speak like that, brother. And that lets me
Man,
know
they
you're
be
not
beating
cultured.
women up, raping them,
Can
all types of shit. Man,
Goofy, let him.
You're not cultured. So when you
You
go
go to
somewhere,
rape capital of the world. I bet
Goofy,
you
why you keep cutting him off, man? You need to show some respect.
So when
You
you
need to show
learn
some
something,
respect.
when you learn something about your culture, it's to speak in a peaceful way when you talk to your brother. That's where you need to go to Africa to learn something. To how you speak to your brother. You don't speak in that vulgar language when you talk to your brother in Africa. They do not do that because you've never been there and you have no culture. You'll never learn that. I love y'all, brothers.
Who's
and I'm
never
gone.
been there?
What up, man?
Who
don't have no
run?
We know who
culture?
haven't, who
Yeah,
haven't.
don't
Carl
run.
haven't, clearly.
Don't run. Because I'll
Max
break out
think
my passport
African
very
something
fast.
Who's the next speaker?
Can I speak?
I'll
Who's the
break
next
out my
speaker?
passport
Max,
very
The
fast.
sister has not spoken.
Hold on, Willa, you
Hello?
want to say something, Willa?
Oh yeah. Oh, Willie or Willa?
Willa, you Willa.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've been trying to be patient and hold on. And I'm sorry that I keep repeating my age. I'm repeating my age because I've been an adult since the 70s. So, and like I said in the beginning, in Liberia, when I was in high school, the African Americans that came to Liberia, speaking of the African Americans that were involved in the Pan-African movement, they were mostly artists. They were the Jackson family, Michael Jackson and his family used to come to Liberia. Hence, you hear the song Liberian Girl. He was the only one that had a Liberian girlfriend. His older brothers also. And they didn't just come to Liberia once, they would come all the time. And African artists, some of the jazz musicians came to Liberia. And so those are the people that we were familiar with that were really involved in the Pan-African movement. So even though the Pan-Africanism was strong in America, even when I came here, it was mostly the artists and sort of what we would call the educated class, maybe people who were doctors, lawyers, the average everyday African American, because the people that I met didn't really know. I'm talking about like your average bus driver, even your average elementary school teacher, like just lower class, middle class people. They weren't. It was the educated upper class who were interested in the artist. But then too, the other thing I wanted to address before I leave, I keep hearing people on this panel talk about Africans fleeing, and also saying, oh, well, if you're from Africa, why are you, if you love Africa so much, why are you in America? It's because you don't have a sense of history. These countries that we come from were all colonialized. We had our own form of slavery going on. It just wasn't called slavery and Jim Crow. It was called colonialism. Most of the countries on the continent are younger. They're younger than me. Like I said, I'm 67. So, and these are countries created by the then colonial masters. But Africa is an old culture, old people, ancient languages, ancient cultures. So it's complex. It's not simple. Everything wasn't based on this with your color of your skin. So it's not. It's complex. It's very difficult to explain to an American. I remember when I came here, it took me a good maybe 5 to 7 years to even understand the racial complexities, the cultural complexities of America. I'm just speaking from experience. And I keep saying, I came here at 19 years old in the 70s. So I have lived through the ups and downs of racial tensions in this country. It's gone from, for people who are Black, are young, a lot of you guys look like you're 40 and under. You're only looking at it from the time you've been alive and being conscious.
Right.
I'm going back to a lot of you, like your parents or your grandparents. That's what I'm trying to explain to you. Based on my life experiences in this country and in Africa, this is what I'm telling you. You're looking at this from a really narrow view. You're looking at it based on your personal experience of the people you've known from maybe you've traveled to. I have traveled because I come from the travel industry. I've traveled to just about every state in the United States. I've been fortunate. I've also traveled all over the world. And I've had a broad experience of people, races, all kinds of experiences. And I'm telling you, the way you guys are looking at this is from a very narrow, and you don't have a long enough lifespan to compare. I'm comparing coming from, becoming really aware of myself in the mid 70s. So take it from me. It's, and I keep saying this, it really is painful to me because, and I know, and the men I'm hearing, and it's mostly men, because when I talk to African American women in the same age group, they don't have this kind of, I don't know, angst, maybe a few, but take it from me. It's not, this is not like a huge, or it's not 70% of people that are like, this is a very narrow, let's say if I did I had a flashback and a scene into your life, I will bet that you don't know 100 Africans intimately. You don't. And then number two, you may know most people in America are familiar mostly with people like Nigerians, maybe. Some people, like if you come from Minnesota, they're familiar with Somalians. Again, different kinds of people. And then certain parts of the United States, people are only familiar with people from a particular African country. You see, so you're talking about like a variety of people, and maybe you've met and been really involved with less than 100 Africans. So please take my word for it. Believe me, this is my lived experience. I'm older than I think everybody on this panel, I'm sure, by maybe 2 times. This is not, if you don't want to be associated with Africans, it's okay. If you don't want to identify as African, it's okay. But and like we say the same thing to my African brothers and sisters, but you don't have to have this visceral whoop, bloop, 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 because I think mostly this is online, it seems to me. Because when I meet African American young men in person in their 30s and 40s, and the type of African American men I'm talking about, I think are people like you. They're mostly college educated, they're middle class. I have my son.
Who are you, ma'am?
My son is in his late 40s. He's an executive vice president in a bank in Connecticut. He's the only Black man in his, and actually he's the top producer, business banking and sales. He's the top producer in his region. Do you think he calls me to tell me, oh, I've been dealing with so and so client online, and all along, or he hadn't met them in person, and they were doing $7 million business or whatever. And when he goes to meet, it happens all the time. He finally goes to meet them, and they're like, they're uncomfortable because in their mind, he's not supposed to be Black, right? And he'll call me, and because of the way I've raised him, he'll call me to run it by me. Do you think it was because I go, yeah, or maybe not? And I talk to him and advise him, and I'm so proud because he grew up, and the way he is, he's not blaming. I didn't raise him to blame, as long as I stressed education, excellence, and be who you are, and don't let anybody tell you who you are, and walk with the confidence that I'm educated, I've earned this position, I'm in it, and you carry yourself that way. And no matter what anybody says, black, white, or whatever, you will exude that excellence. So you don't have to talk down to. He's had interactions with. He had, I think, only one. He had some sort of I think it was an Afro Latino guy who was kind of under him, and he had some issues with him, and he called me, and I advised him on how to handle it. And I told, because he said, I don't understand, but this guy is a minority like me, but why is he, and I had to explain to him again, because he's you guys ages, he was looking at it in one way, and I give him other ways to look at it. And you see, and the guy he was talking about, he ended up, he's no longer there. He actually got fired, because of this guy was like, you couldn't tell him anything. He knew everything, and he was trying to undermine him because my son is black, but he's light-skinned Afro-Latina, so Latino, so he was acting like he was white. So all of these things, we all deal with it. So he's going to say, oh, well, all Latinos I met are blah, blah, blah. No, you can't say that. All African Americans I met, no. So you have to take it on a one case by case basis. If you don't want to deal with Africans, just don't. Leave them alone.
Can I ask you something right quick? How long have African Americans been out of Africa? Because we've been out of Africa for a while. So, like, I don't understand why people want to say that we're just these generic Africans that just popped up just out of nowhere. We are a specific group.
I didn't say that.
But you said we don't want to associate with Africa. No, we're not saying we don't have African DNA. We're not saying genetically we're just not African. What we're saying is that we've been out of Africa for a long time, so we are going to redefine ourselves as something else. Just saying African is just generic. It's just a generic term. How can you define what that is?
That's
okay. So can I speak to that?
Actually, I need to pass the mic to some people who are waiting. So
African American is even generic.
Hold on 1 second.
Yeah, that's generic.
Hold on, Willa. Are you done, Willa?
I'm done. Thank you for the opportunity. Good night to all.
Okay. Thank you. Go ahead, Quincy. Unmute yourself, Quincy.
Yeah, y'all hear me, man?
Yeah, we hear you.
All right, so look, a few points, man. One, Tariq has a space every night, man. So if folks got so much to say about the man, call into his space. I mean, y'all calling over the Dynasty space to talk about the man. He's one of the most available people I've ever seen, public figures I've ever seen. So if you got something to say to the man or about the man, call and talk to him. Don't be a coward talking over here. Go call and talk to him. That's one. Two, let me finish. I'm real quick. That's that. Two, there's a saying, never meet your heroes because they'll disappoint you, right? And I think, back, like I said, early 90s, there was a little movement with the Ankhs and the dashikis and stuff, but that was before there was a big influx of Africans in America, right? Now, fast forward to 2025, because I believe a good bulk of Africans came here after the year 2000, right? Now we meeting with them firsthand, interacting with them firsthand, and more importantly, we had social media came out. Now we really get to talk to these folks and interact with these folks firsthand, and it just wasn't what it was. I guess built up to be, So it kind of disappointed a lot of people who were Pan-African and believed in that when we did finally encounter them. Not saying all is bad, but clearly it's enough bad for there to be people falling off Pan-Africanism, right? So that's that. The third thing,
can I just say?
Let me.
No, Louis. You gonna be no, Louis. Let him finish because you'll be long-winded. Go ahead, Quincy. I gotta pass the mic.
All right, and this is the last thing. This conversation is strikingly similar to the conversation I see with why Black people jumping off the Democratic train, right? Because when you ask Black people, hey, why you're not messing with Democrats no more? The people who still riding with them give every excuse in the book. They dismiss it. They just completely throw out and ignore what people are saying, right? So in the same manner, you're asking why Black Americans are kind of stepping away from Pan-Africanism. And we telling y'all why. Y'all ignore us, you dismiss it, you gaslight us, and it's kind
You
of like,
call it
all right,
divisive.
well, at some point, you got to listen to the people that's walking away, because they're walking away for a reason. And if you want to know why, then listen. Now, if you don't want to know why, then keep doing what you do. And if y'all fine with the movement taking the hit the way it's been taken, then do what you do.
Oh, we ain't
But
taking no
nobody-
hit. We ain't taking no hit. Go ahead. We ain't taking no hit. Go ahead.
Can I speak after he son?
No, I gotta pass the mic to
This
Gail.
is my last thing. I promise my last thing. Nobody knows everything. Nobody knows everything. And if y'all knew everything, then this topic wouldn't even be a topic right now. If y'all knew everything, FBA, ADOS, all the delineation movement wouldn't be a thing right now if y'all knew everything. So clearly y'all don't know something. So if people are telling y'all, I'm just saying you gotta listen. And at some point, people just gonna stop talking. They're gonna stop talking, pack their bags, and go. And not even call into this show no more. The only reason we still call into this show is because we still do have some semblance of want to see Black people worldwide prosper and come together.
No, you
right?
don't.
But
No,
at a
you
certain
don't.
point,
No, you don't.
people
Not
gotta
me.
go.
Not me. Not me.
Okay, maybe, but okay, well that's me. I speak for myself, but I speak for myself.
You
But
speak
like
for
I
me
said,
as
at
well,
some
good
point,
brother.
okay, at some point, people just will stop caring. They're gonna stop trying to explain to y'all why, and they're gonna say, you know, we done beat our head about, we done tried called in the Dinah show, you know, had back and forth on Twitter with folks, spoke to people in forum. We done tried to tell these people where where Pan-Africanism is failing Black Americans. We tried to tell them, you know what? We good.
Can you tell
We
us where
gone.
he's failing
We
Black
gone.
Americans?
Oh yeah, Quincy. That's a good question. Real quick, Quincy, got 30 seconds. How is it failing Black America?
What was the question?
How is it failing Black America?
Because it's not reciprocal.
And because it's flattening us too.
You know who qualifies for a
Y'all,
true?
let Quincy finish. Go ahead, Quincy.
It's not reciprocal. Hold on. It's not reciprocal. Who qualifies? I said this million times on your show, Dinus. It's real simple. Who qualifies for a Black or African American scholarship or a Juneteenth scholarship? Everybody qualifies for our scholarship. We let everybody get our scholarships. Who qualifies for a Nigerian scholarship? Who qualifies for a Jamaican scholarship? It ain't everybody specific. We the only ones opening the door for everybody to come and get some off ours. We the only ones doing it.
You just took the words out of my mouth.
Hold on, y'all, Dre, don't interrupt. It's between me and Quincy. But Quincy, who's actually cutting the check for these scholarships?
Whoever donating the funds to them.
Okay.
UNCF, depending on who it is, UNCF, it may be a personal group of people, it may be the college. I'm not really sure. It depends on the scholarship. But
Yeah,
the criteria.
So that's the right. If they want to cut a scholarship to a Black immigrant or whatever, that's their money.
And that's my point. What I'm telling y'all is, when people start getting quiet, they're gonna start making moves behind the scenes.
Quincy, this is my question. Where's the FBA ADOS scholarship?
It's called the African American Scholarship. That's what it's called.
The Negro Fund.
Yeah.
The Negro Fund. It's called the Black American Scholarship.
Negro Fund is for any Black person can sign up for the Negro Fund.
You get it now.
Right.
But who's mainly called Negroes though?
Hold on, y'all. What am I? Any Black person can sign up for the Negro Fund. What are you talking about, Dre?
That's why we're renaming it.
That's the point that you are making my point. You're trying to be funny, but you're making my point. We did that because we believed in Black people worldwide being all the same around for everybody. We're seeing that ain't the case.
Quincy, again, where's the FBA ADOS scholarship?
It's called a Black American Scholarship, African American Scholarship.
Where is it? Where can I look this up?
And if you want to be
you can look at my profile picture.
So you're claiming
I brought that picture.
Hey,
Dinus, I disagree with the fact that
hold on. Direct me to a website where I can sign up for a scholarship specifically for FBA ADOS people. That's what I'm saying.
Dinus, you and I both know FBA and ADOS is Black Americans, African Americans.
We gotta share all
No, you don't get to use that.
Y'all talking over each other. I'm trying to. Okay, so again,
Have you ever heard of Jack and Jill?
Jack and Jill isn't specifically for African FBA ADOS, Mark. Really?
Have you ever heard of a bigger suit?
It's primarily
I'm asking a simple question.
Okay. I'm asking.
Once again, don't overtalk me. I am asking a simple question. Put a link in the chat room for a scholarship for people that delineate. Put it in the chat room.
It don't exist yet.
That's my
That's his point.
And
That's
that's
my
our point.
point.
And
That's
that's
my
our point.
point.
That's our point.
No, that isn't your point right
Yes,
now.
it is. That's
No, it
I'm the
isn't.
one that just said it. You said that's his point.
No.
That's our
So,
point.
Dinas, I disagree with that.
They
We
have
are
their own
that.
scholarship.
Okay,
We got
all
our own
right.
scholarship.
I'm not going to argue over you.
No. It was pathetic and hilarious is that you so-called FBA ADOS can't even fund your own scholarships for your delineation. Is laughable.
And neither can
That's
the
his
Africans.
point.
And neither can the Africans.
It's laughable.
And
And
neither
y'all
can the Africans.
gotta go to the
Neither
U.S.
can the
government.
Who is funding the African scholarships?
And beg to them for your delineation scholarship.
Okay, cool.
They're going to go to in Cobra. They'll use in Cobra or in a Pan Africanist nonprofit group.
Please?
Oh, okay.
No,
Hold on.
I want to get.
I was on mute. Can I respond,
Quincy.
please?
I'm sorry, Quincy. Put the link in the chat room to the scholarship specifically for delineator.
Now, are you talking about for Black Americans? Or are you talking about just?
Check the back chat.
Quincy, don't play
Check the back chat.
He said it. He said it. Okay.
I just dropped the link.
No, I'm saying is anybody delineate or just Black Americans?
He said ADOS or FBA. He didn't say Black Americans.
My point is it don't exist right now because
I'll drop another one.
My answer is it don't exist right now because we didn't delineate like that.
We know it doesn't exist.
Willie just dropped the link in the back channel. That's a pretty.
No, it's not. It's not an FBA ADOS scholarship.
It will begin to exist because people will start delineating. Because I was with my sister in 2018 helping her. This is one of the first light bulbs that went off in my mind. I was helping her look for scholarships, and I came across a whole list of all kinds of scholarships for every ethnicity. And I was like, hold on, do they have like Black ones in here too? Sure enough, like I said, Jamaican, Nigerian, Ghanaian. That was the first time I ever seen that they had scholarships specifically for lineage-based scholarships.
That's part of USAID. That's
They
part
even
of
got reparations movements like Terracon.
Most of that is part of USAID that they closed down, that Trump and them closed down, and that's part.
I dropped 2 of them.
And that's part of
Africa's funded by USAID.
okay, and that's part of a political. That's part of a political move to take the.
I dropped 2 links of scholarships specifically.
Hey, Dinas, can I speak? Skywalker, I've been waiting.
Let me read this first.
All you need is a bigger suit, Willie. That was a good job.
Let me read this first. Hold on. Okay, so this is for. Okay, so any certified. What's a certified descendant? Let's click on this link right here. Welcome. Okay, descendant is anyone originating or coming from an ancestral person whose involuntary labor helped expand and sustain Jesuit missionary efforts and educational institutions until the abolition of slavery, 1865. Descendant certifications include spouses and adopted children of direct descendants of the GU 272 and those who were enslaved before, during.
That's us.
What?
But listen, it says who were enslaved before, during, and after the sale by the Society of Jesus in 1838. Descendants of Jesuit enslavement in other U.S. locations include, but are not limited to, Alabama, Illinois.
That sounds off.
So that's
me.
one.
No, that doesn't sound like
Listen,
one.
y'all moving the goalposts.
Sounds like a religious.
Sounds
like a religious
He asked for a link for a scholarship specifically
Willie
for
came
the
for
descendants of
that ain't
slaves in
right.
America.
No, that ain't right. Y'all ain't never.
Most Black Americans are in Alabama.
Nah,
Y'all
that
ain't never
sounds
y'all miserable.
very
Y'all
convoluted.
miserable.
It's not a straight shot.
Just like Pan-Africanists try to convolute
sounds
everything.
very convoluted.
Hold on, one mic. Let me finish reading. I gotta pass the mic. So, enslavement in U.S. location.
Enslavement in U.S. location.
Guys, gotta mute up. In other U.S. locations include, but are not limited to, Alabama, Illinois, Missouri, Kansas, Kentucky, Grand Coteau, Louisiana, and Pennsylvania. So, I mean, this is very, very streamlined and niched.
Yeah, that's what it. Yeah, you asked.
But it's what you asked for.
If it's
Right.
it's what
No,
you asked.
You
for.
asked for
Right. You're right. No, you're right. You're right.
Try the
come on now.
Thurgood Marshall
Stop
scholarship
being
that I
so
dropped as well.
disingenuous.
No,
Why?
you're right. No, you're right. You're right.
You're right.
Somebody has an echo.
Skywalker, can I speak now?
Somebody has an echo.
Somebody has the echo. You got.
That's Skywalker. That's Skywalker.
Yeah, Skywalker, you gotta call back in, man. You gotta echo, bro.
Yeah, you gotta
You
get
don't
out of here
call
with
on your
that.
Obama phones, man.
Shout out to Willie, man. First time you did something right, man.
All right, let me pass it to Dino. Go ahead, Dino.
Oh, can you hear me real quick?
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah. So I guess I wanted to respond to like the title and where they said African Americans are distancing themselves from being African or whatever. I mean, pretty much the some of the people that were on the panel earlier, they kind of pretty much said it, including my guy Brandon. Like, these talking points really did not exist prior to 5 years ago. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, I'm almost 40 years old, and growing up, I didn't hear anybody claim to be anything else except African American. And I also live here in the Boston area, here in the East Coast. So my
I'm from
experience,
Boston too. Salute.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? So my experience with like black people coming together, regardless of wherever we came from. In fact, that's what made our community great. You know what I'm saying? And and
Facts.
most of the people that are talking on these platforms like Cincinnati. The funny thing is, nothing against Cincinnati, but I met a cat from Cincinnati some years ago, and I remember speaking with this dude, and we became cool. The dude he himself was like, yeah, this is my first time being in an area where I've come across Haitians, Africans, Nigerians, this, that, and the third.
You're Haitian, by the way.
I'm not Haitian. But anyways, listen, Bobo, cut it out. Right? You know what I'm saying? Because you're doing all this clown stuff or whatever. I'm not trying to disrespect you or nothing like that, man. But you've been clowning around for like the last hour or so, man. Like, just be serious for a little bit. Feel me? You know what I'm saying? So
serious space.
Shoot. Anyways, so basically the dude from Cincinnati, he basically confirmed like he ain't never came across any Africans like that or whatever, like, you know what I'm saying? So a lot of the times when people keep on saying like, Africa's been bringing the smoke to them and all of that, like, I'm like, where the hell has I've never seen nothing like that. And I mean, I literally live in a place where there's thousands of each ethnicity when it comes to the blacks and diaspora. Hold on. Give me a second, family. You know what I mean? So another thing too is like, because I want to address like pretty much the lies that I hear, like a lot of people that are, that have the same mindset and talking points as Vovo and people that talk like them. You know what I'm saying? Like I recognize like a lot of their talking points, like the bottom, like it's pretty much like saturated with lies and stuff like that. Like it's not really based on any like real anecdotal experiences or anything like that. And even when they be saying like, oh, the Africans were talking shit about them and bringing the smoke to them online, like there really was no quarrel or no riff until those apps like Clubhouse and Tariq Nasheed was kind of, because it all started, like, to be really quite honest, like the way this whole FBA thing gotta gain momentum, it started off with jokes. You know what I'm saying? And then that's literally how he was able to galvanize and get y'all people to start following and regurgitating some of the talking points. As long as the dude can come through, can joke around and y'all can make satire out of different black cultures or whatever that to begin with, that y'all ain't ever really had no encounters with to begin with. Like,
Can I give you an example that we all can see? That everybody.
Let the man.
Hold on. You know what I'm saying? So I guess what I'm trying to say is, because he kind of cut me off. I was trying to get to a point here, but like a lot of the times when I be seeing like because people be like, oh, the Africans, oh, they talking shit about us or whatever. Like that's, you know what I mean? Like you can't throw a rock from a glass house, man. You're like, you know what I'm saying? Like I think a lot of it's like I'll end up seeing people that represent FBA, like y'all will play the victim after starting the damage or starting the riff. You know what I'm saying? Like y'all will start the name calling first, and then ain't nobody gonna sit back and be like, damn. Because a lot of people that was following Tariq Nasheed, like there was a lot of people that were following him that because they thought that he was trying to bring us together. Then all of a sudden, the weird narrative started coming, and and him causing the divisiveness. And then we also see other social media influencers that were once trying to bring us together. Then now they're trying to copy the same blueprint. Like we're not, people are not dumb. Like we can literally see chronologically how things are changing, how the conversations are going, and we can literally see, the different type of people that are representing FBA. And when I mean FBA, I'm not talking about African Americans. We're talking about people that have decided to subscribe to the name FBA. Like we're literally starting to see, like, increasingly, like we just, like, we're getting a bunch of people that, like, I feel like it's, when this shit was created, it was speaking to a certain spirit that has already existed in unfortunately, I feel like they've been, when Tariq Nasheed created that whole FBA thing, like, I think he was speaking to a spirit that was like, unfortunately, like, it was in the background of a lot of, like, uneducated, Black folks' minds here in the country. You know what I'm saying?
Speak on it.
You know what I mean?
Can I rebuttal what you said, bro?
And that's what I wanted to. If I can pick, if I can.
Hold on, yeah, Dino, are you done yet? Hold on, Dino, you done?
Nah, pass the mic to me, man. I'm from Boston too.
Oh, no, but there are other, man, y'all be quiet. Dino, you done?
Yeah, I'll just say one more thing real quick. Like I said, Vovo, I wasn't trying to disrespect you or nothing like that, man. But right off the rip, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're not even starting off trying to be serious, man. Like, because there are people that hold on, family, because, like, dog, there are people that really do take us coming together seriously. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, on the outside looking in, like, you can't see yourself, like, I don't think you understand how much of a clown you do make yourself look, or the bad representation that you actually present to the world, or whoever is, like, visualizing this shit. Because there are people out here that, like I'm gonna be honest, my brother, like, you don't represent the best of African American culture. You don't.
I'm not your brother. Now you asked me this, and you act like you asked this in good faith, but you're not.
All right, go ahead.
Not one time did I hear you address the African. Now, just if I get 1 minute, I think you were trying to say Cleveland, but you said Cincinnati, but that's the same
Cincinnati.
State.
Yeah.
And you act like we over here and we don't deal with no Africans, and this is just online. You ever heard of Chaotic Truth? Chaotic Truth live right up the street from me. I can walk to the Chaotic Truth house. He sit online with white people all day and call us the N-word. Chaotic Truth. Google that. It's a Nigerian dude that live right up the street from me. Right up the street. I know people that wanted to go to I know his address.
He's a troll, man.
It don't matter. Go talk to him. There's a song out here by a guy named Aki, and he said, "Stay away from me, Kata. Stay away from all the rob and shoot and shoot."
Oh, Lord.
Yo, let me look at my and here's my counter. Here's my counter argument. Here's my counter argument.
Hold on, Dino. Vovo, I would be more concerned about drill rappers coming out of Chicago than
this ain't about that. This conversation ain't about that.
I would be more concerned about the drill. King Von. That's what I'll be more concerned about.
We want to talk about now. We can have a drill conversation, but this ain't about that.
All right, let me pass it. Go ahead, Dino.
I did want to say something. Did the counter argument with that? Like, yeah, Chaotic Truth. I mean, he be trolling or whatever the case. Hold on, wait. Hold on, family.
Talk to your people like this. Go talk to your people like this.
Listen. I'm gonna tell you something. Like, you trying to make it seem like, dude, any given day, right? You can hop online, and there are people that are starting new channels, talking shit about trying to cause divisiveness.
You own a channel right now.
Hold on. Let me. Wait. No. Because first of all, this channel right here. I've been a follower of this channel for a long time, and all Dynas have been doing has been trying to bring us together. Like, and Jude, I'm not about. Listen, I'm not about to sit here and start lying like you. Like, I don't do that. I'm a man. All right, I have integrity, bro. And that's what you're lacking. And let me also say this to you.
That's what
brother. I could. Listen, I'll show my face in a minute. I'll show my face in a minute. Don't even trip on that. if you really want to see my face that bad. But listen, hold.
I gotta pass the mic to Big Black Pause.
All right, I got you. So one of the counter arguments that I wanted to say, because like one of the things I did want to say was like, because the FBA rhetoric, they're talking to a certain kind of spirit that has been already existing here. Like you got to imagine.
You don't care about
like hold on, wait for a second, because like you don't like this like. Growing up, you ain't never had to have no African comedian talking shit about African Americans like everywhere you go, you know what I'm saying? Or every time you put on the TV like this, you know what I mean? There's, like I'm saying like this is something like Africans being,
No, you're not saying
targeted for satire. Huh?
Hey, Dino, let me pass it. I gotta pass it. We're closing now, so let me pass it to Big Black. Pause. Big Black.
All right, cool.
Yo, Big Black, you mind if I take your spot, Big Black?
Big Black, go ahead, Big Black.
Let me close this out, man.
No, it ain't. Go ahead, Big Black.
Now, Vovo has one good point about chaotic truth. He's more than a troll. He's also trying to cause division, like Tariq. Kind of like the brother, but yeah, he's also kind of called.
Tariq will never sit with no white man dumping on Africans. Never.
Yeah, so that
man sit with white man.
But at the same time, I mean, you're not as big as chaotic truth, but you're out here causing division. Look, if you use a lot of wisdom, right? If you notice, like when you talk about African Americans that come on this panel, there's more African Americans that represent African Americans than FBA. You have to come on here every day to fill in that FBA spot, because if you don't fill in that FBA spot, there'll be no people, pretty much hardly no FBA people here. So that tells you, so that says that the movement is dying. Pan-Africanism will help all of us. I'll give you an example, right? You look at what happened with the Jews in Germany. I think it's probably almost impossible for that to happen again with the Jews, right? Because they got themselves together, grab their own country, and anytime that type of rhetoric starts to pop off, they have they wield political power in these different countries, because they never forget. Now, how Pan-Africanism will help all the diaspora, no matter where we're at, right? What we want to do is to help industrialize Africa, right? Africa's industrialize. If Africa industrializes, no matter where the diaspora is at, because everywhere where the diaspora at, you're going to have a mixture, all of us, right? Even in America, you have a mixture of African Americans and people from the continent, and not only industrializing the continent of Africa, industrializing, those in the Caribbean, right? So let's say there comes a time, well, we're somewhere in a country that's not predominantly black, that's not run by blacks, right? Well, we need political power, right? Political power needs to be helped by us. Imagine over 50 countries, 50 black countries. I'm talking about in Africa, including the Bahamas, right? That yield political power that say, hey, hands off our diaspora. That's Pan-Africanism. But a lot of these FBA people, they can't see that far. I don't understand it. I mean, why can't they see that far? It's just, why can't you see that far, Vovo? You just hit the divide of
because they have to delineate so they could beg the Jesuits.
Can I answer the question?
That's why.
That's trolling. That's
the truth, though. That's what I'm talking about. It's delineation.
He's being facetious.
Yeah, it's delineation.
So y'all can get
He's being
Jesuit
facetious.
scholarships from the
Yeah, bro, y'all ain't serious. He asked me a question.
But that's what it's about. Let me ask you. Okay, you ain't gonna talk over me. So let me ask Willie. Willie, you there?
Why you asking Willie when you ask me?
Willie, you there, Willie?
Yep, I'm here.
Willie, do you qualify for any of these scholarships?
He's not FBA.
Willie, do you qualify for any of these scholarships?
I qualify for others. What's the point?
What others?
There are other scholarships out there, but what's the point you're trying to make?
He's not a descendant. I keep telling y'all the same thing.
The scholarships that you was making your point about. Do you qualify for any of those? That you the one that brought up the scholarships?
That's what man you brought him up.
So when we read it, there was very specific verbiage, right? It said not specifically held to. Then you read all those regions. So yes, I might qualify for that one.
Might or do you?
I mean, I'm not applying for scholarships, Dynast. I don't know. There's a high probability that yes, I could finagle it. It's a high probability that an African could get it. That's the way things work for the black man in America. So if I could get 2 seconds.
Go ahead.
See, here's my thing, right? I'm going to start off with my premise for coming here. To be honest, it's all about, is Pan-Africanism even worth holding on to for me, right? Is there any win in this? Can we find any unity in this? I get to a point where I see more discord, right, than any hope of unity. And I don't want to be involved in that. So it makes it that much easier for me to walk away. The brother spoke to that earlier, and whoever that was, everything he said, he spoke to my inner soul as a black man in America, right? So you got to understand, with me, I'm definitely not FBA, right? Being born in Harlem, having a family lineage that goes all through Low Country, South Carolina, where I spent every summer. I'm the founding member of ABA, right? We're the Anti-Brokenness Association. You're all welcome. Jamaicans, Africans, like people from Atlanta, whoever, right? Because I believe that fundamentally, I believe in what Thomas Sankara wanted to do. He wanted to not export nothing out. If we have the resources here, let's make the clothes here, let's sell the clothes here, let's do it all ourselves. I, for one, maybe foolishly simply because of what I've accomplished, but I think the black man in America has a lot of opportunity, probably a head start on most. So I don't get caught up in all of that when I hear, oh, the black man doesn't have this, he has no power in America, this, that, and the third. That was my point of bringing up lobbying, right? People pay hundreds of millions of dollars easy, right, to influence our political what? Our political what? Our political power, right? But we're squandering it because we've lost sight of a unified goal. I think that came from us getting comfortable. So now it's easier to just get on YouTube and talk crazy rather than try to actually, facilitate some change.
In the real world.
So
In the
this is
real
what,
world.
yeah,
Not
yeah,
on social media, because the
right.
question I have for you is, in the real world, do you find all of this discordance between groups? Like if you were to go to Harlem and you would go to different community organizations, whatever
You
they
made it
are.
deeper. You made it deeper.
The
So,
internet
and,
is
and
the
I'm going
real
to answer
world.
it quick, right? So, what I focused on, right? Not looking outside of self anymore and not paying anything. I'm trying to build something of my own. So, I've put myself in circles of like minded people like myself who have that goal of pushing black families forward, right? But on the other side of that, when I do go to New York, I'm going to be honest, I personally have never had tension with the African community because 9 times out of 10 in Harlem and Brooklyn, it's a bunch of Nigerians. Once I pull out my ID and show them my real first name, they look, oh, you're my brother. Is your father from Nigeria? You know what I mean? Nah. My mother was just, strong Pan-African, right? But I'll end here. I'm telling you, as a child of the Pan-African movement, without a doubt, Pan-Africanism isn't dead in America, but it is definitely on life support.
But it's
And
always, but my argument, and I was trying to say the whole time, is that it's always been a lot, most of us who did not consider ourselves Pan-Africanists. And even when we came up with moving from black to African American, it was a lot of pushback from the people that I was involved with, my friends, the conversations on the campus, on college campus. It was a lot of folks that was like, no, I don't like African American because the issue of Africa, being from African. So this is a matter of really what we defined, or we discovered that it was really knowledge, was lack of knowledge, and that the answer to our problem is education. Africans on the continent needed a certain a correct education, is just
And
like
we
we
need
need a
to know
correct
more too.
education. Because
Yeah.
when we have that proper education, we'll understand who we are, where we are, and what time it is. If we don't, then we'll be saying, I'm not African. I was born in America, or my ancestors were descendants of slaves. That's the answer will be when you ask somebody, are they of African descent? They'll say, I'm not from Africa, and that ain't even what you asked them.
Yeah.
But
Can I,
here's the
can I
psyop.
say
The
this to Diamond?
psyop was the 20,000 room. Listen to this. I have never seen a room in Twitter with 20,000 people other than with Donald Trump, Elon Musk, and the former owner before Elon Musk. Those people got those large numbers of people, 20,000 people. Here's the psyop. Tariq Nasheed 3 years ago was in this room with his brother named Bobby and Mel and some other folks who
I
were
was in there too.
okay. So this was the room that got 20 or 20 plus
40,000.
40,000. That's the psyop. And that
No.
was the
Mel and them
exacerbation.
messed that up.
That was the part of the exacerbation of this whole
And I told them it was gonna mess it up.
FBA negative movement. That because Africans were on there talking, and African
There was no
Americans were
Africans in
talking,
there
and
talking. They don't let Africans talk. Them guys,
no,
I know
so
those guys.
but in this case, I was there. I was listening. It
No, you
was
wasn't.
Africans. There were Africans that were talking, and
Who?
they were talking very they were jaded. They were mad, and they were arguing because they were arguing about stuff that was ridiculous, like
You would remember what they was
against each
that was
other.
some of the biggest
No,
Twitter
it was ignorant shit that was being said on both
that
sides.
was
I
Mel, that was
believe it.
Yaya, that
Right.
was
I was there.
Booby,
I was there. In
that
fact,
was
my
Booby.
first room, the very first room I ever went to was Mel, Yaya, Sonny, Bobby, and whatever, that crew that turned
Yeah.
into it.
And
They turned
I
into
was the
to
one when
Secure
they
the
had
Tribe,
the big thing, I was
right?
telling them that
They
y'all
turned
wrong.
into
Don't go
Secure the
away.
Tribe. They
did.
left FBA and
They
turned
did.
into Secure the Tribe, and now
No,
they're
they was
not.
never.
Now
They
they're
was
neither of
never.
those. They're no longer FBA because of some
They no
stuff that
longer
Tariq
around.
said.
And I
They're
told
no
them to
longer
leave.
Secure the Tribe because they was Indians. After they left FBA,
Right.
they became Indians. They're no longer that either. Right. So anyway, I'm very familiar with the beginnings of this because this is how I came
You're
into
not
it.
though. You're
Oh,
not.
I
That's
am.
just
I
like
am.
you.
And
That's
before
like you
that, they were
talking about.
the Hebrew Israelites. I think Mel was a
No,
Hebrew
what is he
Israelite,
talking about? Now
and
you
some
just
other
saying
folks was
anything.
Hebrew Israelites.
Bro,
So
this guy
I'm
saying
familiar.
anything.
I'm very
Vovo, let him
familiar.
talk.
It
Vovo,
wasn't.
let him talk. Vovo,
But it
let him
wasn't
talk.
about
So
no
anyway,
Hebrew. He just
my
saying
landing
random stuff.
my landing point is that African Americans have never fully bought into total I'm from Africa, but they didn't have nothing bad. They were in a lot of ways indifferent about Africans that came from the continent, to like, oh, they're black people, right? They're those Caribbeans are black people, those are black people. So and I can
And
see
there was a
how
time
Let,
where if
let me.
another black man spoke
Can I
against
talk to
them,
Dino for a
the
second?
whole room would turn on him.
Can I talk to
right.
Dino for a
Let
But
second?
me.
but
I'll
I
step in real
want to
quick
let me
before
land
y'all shut it down.
my final
no,
point. I'm
hold
landing.
on, 1 second, Vovo. Do you qualify for this scholarship?
Yeah. Alabama. Yep.
No, okay. No, read the entire.
From what you read, I didn't read from what I see on the screen. Yeah,
The
that hurt
Senate.
you that he brought that up.
No, no.
You
I'm
said we
just
won't be able to
asking.
bring it up.
Okay, here we go. Okay. A
I'm a
descendant is.
descendant.
Let me read it. A descendant is anyone originating or coming from the ancestral person whose involuntary labor helped establish, expand, and sustain Jesuit missionary effort. So, did any of your family members help sustain and expand Jesuit
I
missionary?
don't know what a Jesuit is. I'm not. I'm
Okay, so that's
Catholic.
a no. That's a no. Okay,
Oh well,
right.
no then, no.
Right.
Like
Catholic.
that is no. Like no then. Like
Catholic.
no then.
Catholic. Jesuits are
Like no.
Catholic.
But here's my thing, Dino.
Yeah.
I
No,
respect you.
but there's a specific branch of Catholics, though.
I don't know. I'm Southern Baptist. I don't know about no Jesuits, none of that.
Oh, so that's not an FBA
let me say this
scholarship.
to Dino, I respect you coming on the camera, but you still disingenuous because you don't talk to your people like that. Like I told you, one of the biggest anti-black American people that sit with white people every day. He hold a space about us, sitting with white people, and he shared the N-word with them. He like a mini Myron Gaines. He lived right up the street from me.
So what's the
lived right
point? He's Candace
No, what I'm
Owens.
saying is that stop
Yeah.
acting like y'all don't see this. These people attacking us, and it's just FBA doing
You
it.
think we're qualifying them as important? They are just, they're Candace Owens. They're not important. Just like Tariq Nasheed is not important either.
Why isn't he?
Because he's fringe.
Listen,
There's
no, he's
probably
this thing is happening.
probably
It's happening.
more
This is
than
on the
half of our
president's lips.
population has never heard of
This is
Tariq
on Donald
Nasheed.
Trump's lips. He's
I
not
would say
saying
more than
FBA
half of
he's
African Americans
delineating.
never heard
And
of
Taji
Tariq
Brown
Nasheed.
Jackson, y'all talked about her earlier. She talking about rewriting the 14th Amendment. This delineation thing is happening. Y'all can see it happening.
I don't
I
see
wanna-
it happening.
Well,
Big.
I would say this. I support the 14th Amendment being rewritten. I support that. I support that.
Mhm.
Wow.
I
What
wanna-
do you support about it?
Huh?
Yeah, hold on, Ray.
What do you support about it?
In what way? Because you were trying to remix.
Yeah.
No,
I know you.
I support that. It's specifically meant for the term descendants of enslaved Africans, free slaves. That's who's intended
Here
for.
in America.
Here in America, and not for
we gotta be clear.
not for illegal immigrants to come and abuse and exploit. So, I agree. Yeah, exactly. No more anchor babies.
Thank you. That's what we saying. Yeah, that's for us.
I support that.
So, but if the president is saying that he's reading it and he having his lawyers go over it and his bright minds go over it, and they saying, yeah, freedmen, yeah, this is for freedmen. He's saying descendants of slaves specifically. He know that we different. Y'all the only group that seem to don't know that we different. They know. Everybody else know. Everybody else outside.
If you had a business like Jeff Bezos, you probably wouldn't be saying the same thing.
We ain't
Because
talking about
those,
Jeff Bezos. See
you know,
how
I
y'all
said if he had a
think
business on the level of Jeff Bezos or
This ain't
someone
about
like
business.
that,
This about
it is about
delineation.
business. The reason why
The
anchor
whole
babies
term
can happen,
FBA
the reason why.
about delineation.
Why do you? Why you speak over when people are talking? They can't hear
You're
you.
talking about Jeff Bezos.
I know, but I can't hear you. You can't hear me.
Because you're talking about nothing.
Yeah,
bro.
but I can't hear you, and you can't hear me.
Why people don't take the
Right,
FBA
but you still can't hear me, and I can't hear you because you're talking the same time I'm talking.
You're gonna move the goalposts.
I'm gonna be quiet and let you talk. Or are you gonna be quiet and let me talk? What's the point? I mean, what are we doing? All I'm saying, I'm making a point that business, capitalism and business is about immigration and cheap labor. That's why they have it. And when you have the power to influence the politics that can change those laws, if you can, then you can change the laws. If you don't have the power as a people to do that, then you're not going to change the laws, and that's it.
Great. We weren't talking about no immigration, nothing. We talking about this delineation.
He brought up anchor babies, and I'm just talking about why we have anchor babies. I'm just saying why we have those laws.
Myron Gaines. Period. I'm not the same as Chaotic Truth. I'm not the same as Candace Owens. I'm not the same as them. Period. We might.
Well, you working your way up there. You working your way up there. If you get a channel, you probably be just like them. If you get a channel, you'll probably be just like them.
If I get a what? If I get a what?
Hey, y'all, we gotta close out, man. We'll be back on tomorrow. Hey, everyone, thank you so much for joining. Like, share, subscribe. And you know what? You were right about the scholarship. So I'll say this. Let me say this, Vovo. I agree with you on some stuff, you and Willie. On some stuff, like as far as specific tangibles.
We're gonna bring you back. We're gonna bring you back, brother. You're gonna come back home. we need to take you down there to one of the plantations, and we need to cleanse you with all that African mumbo jumbo.
This dude's crazy as hell.
I didn't even get a chance to talk.
I mean, no, this
Tariq or any of his followers. Again, I am ABA, the Anti-Brokenness Association. You're all welcome. I'm not FBA.
No, but hold on, let me say this.
But
hold on, I do agree that. How can I put it? I do agree for specific tangibles for descendants of enslaved Africans. I just think the way that the group FBA and somewhat ADO and ADOS is going about it is just goofy. That's all.
Repulsive.
That's all. But I say this. I do agree with some Willie Vovo. I do agree with let me vote back on.
You agree with reparations?
Dennis, I would say that actually these FBA people
I do
are
like
doing a
prime
disservice for
example this scholarship. So hey, listen.
But these people are doing a disservice for their
John, let me
movement.
finish. So Willie, the scholarship specifically for descendants of enslaved Africans. I agree with it. I just think the way they're going about it is just completely goofballish and goofy, as you say, Willie.
Give me a hug, man. Give me a hug. I know you sorry. Come on. We gonna
Dennis, can I get a chance to talk before you close
Give me a
out?
hug, Dennis. Come on. Come back home, brother.
Let me but I'm still Africa first.
We about to get you a bowl of chitlins and some cornbread, bring you back, baby. You guys get off that foo-foo and them.
You need to lay off the chitlins, bro.
I'll take you shopping.
We need to lay off those
Get you a
chitlins.
pair of Jordans. I'm gonna get you a Nike hoodie. You coming back home, man.
Hold a boo boo what?
He said Nike. Hey, go ahead, y'all. Go ahead, y'all.
Yeah. Salute to the panel. Good evening, good night, whatever, right? So I mean, I agree with you, Dinus. Like certain points that the FBA make, like as an African American, I can agree to it, right? The ethnic distinction, those type of things, right? Certain set asides, whatever the case may be, right? But the thing is, these people are doing a disservice for their agenda or whatever. They're doing a disservice by coming online and just making a joke of everything. Like literally Tariq Nasheed, just all day long, he's just joking, capping jokes on Africans and Caribbeans, and it's like, what legislations are you guys getting pushed? Like, what are you guys really getting done? Like, I don't see it. They talk about the museum, but like that's nothing, right? But I wanted to say, right, is the brother from Boston? Is he still on the panel?
Talking about me? I'm from Boston, and there was somebody else too.
It's me. So what part of Boston you from?
Yeah, man. Now I lived in Roxbury, then I moved to Hyde Park. I grew up in Hyde Park, basically. Yeah. So.
Okay. So I'm from Boston, born and raised. Right. I'm from Grove Hall section of Boston. This is known as the Mecca of Boston, right?
Yeah, I used to live in Grove Hall too. Yeah.
Okay, so you know that. So you know about Prince Hall, the first all-black Masonic temple is there. You know that the Nation of Islam temple, where Farrakhan and Malcolm X, where Farrakhan and Malcolm X spoke. That's right there in my neighborhood. This is why I lived. I lived on 103 Washington Street at the time. So I'm born and raised in Boston.
Yeah, next to the Burke. I know.
Next to the Burke, exactly.
Yeah, next to the Burke. Yeah.
So when I hear these, so when I first came online to these social media platforms, YouTube, I had no idea who FBA was, Tariq Nasheed. I didn't know who they was. I actually got introduced to these people through a African on social media from the UK. I had no idea who these people was. The rhetoric that they were pushing, I wasn't familiar with it because, like you said, how we grew up here in Boston. Boston is a multicultural city. We have Haitian, we have Cape Verdeans here. You get what I'm saying? It's Black American, African Americans here. We have Dominicans, Puerto Ricans, and for the most part, we grew up together, lived together, ate each other's food. Like there was no ethnic clashing or anything like that. Not from my knowledge of my upbringing.
What is you, brother?
I'm African American.
What that mean? You know what I'm asking?
Yeah, I just told you I'm African American. That's my ethnic name. Yeah,
you is African American. All right, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So boom. So I mean, that was my upbringing. My parents, they instilled the love of blackness in us and the love of Africa in us. I noticed that a lot of these FBAs, they, just like the sister was saying earlier, they're only coming from a limited scope. It seems like. And I think many of them are coming from places where there wasn't that much cultural sort of exposure.
We taught y'all more about Africa.
Let me finish, bro. Let me finish. I'm just cooking right now.
No, I'm just saying you can't be saying bullshit about us and then just be like you acting like you acting these like.
Vovo, he didn't even say, Vovo, listen, man, he didn't even say nothing. He's over here talking about how we grew up.
Like we dumb.
But that's the.
So anyways, let me finish. Let me finish. So again, like I said, the way how I was raised. Right? Listen, the way how I was raised from my parents, we had a lot of black nationalists. We had a lot of
embarrassed by that.
Yeah.
Y'all embarrassed.
We had a lot of.
Y'all embarrassed.
Bugging.
No,
Yeah,
you
you bugging.
embarrassed.
Can he finish? He's
I
talking.
told you it's going to be more
Bro,
African.
literally my
Can he
family,
finish?
literally my
Can he
family's from
finish,
Georgia and North
please?
Carolina, so I don't know what you're talking about. But anyways, so yeah, I grew up with that. My parents instilled that into us at an early age. So me and my siblings, we grew up with a lot of confidence within ourselves because we know about our history. When I listen
Right.
to some of these FBAs, they seem very insecure that they have to attack. When you have to constantly attack another person and tear them down, and call them dirty foot tethers and bush meat this and bush baby that, like to me, this is a sign of insecurity. You know what I'm saying? Like me, that's not how I was raised. I grew up in a household full of love, you know,
Hey, y'all, real
and
quick.
What
You're talking
I
about
think
edu-
what also makes it
let me
worse.
finish. Let
What
me just finish. Let me just finish.
go
Let me
ahead.
just
See
cook for a
how
little
clean the
bit. Let me just
bottom of that
cook.
foot was?
Let me cook,
That's the
man.
FBA for that
So
thing clean as hell.
so my like again, my early childhood, my parents they set up a library for me and my brother, and they instilled it into us the books of W.E.B. Du Bois,
With the board.
Booker T. Washington. Who else? Marcus Garvey, Frederick Douglass. Like we grew up with these books, reading these at a young age. These are books for
Chancellor
like
Williams.
children.
You
So we
you
grew
want
up
to know
with these
what's so
books. So another thing too, you from Boston, you know that all of our schools are named after abolitionists and civil
right.
rights leaders. So I went to the charter. I don't know if you know what that's at. It's on Humboldt. I went to the charter school. I went
Right.
to the Phyllis Wheatley School in middle school. Like I grew. This is
See,
like all of my
and
teachers. All of my teachers. I went to
All black
predominantly
Americans.
black schools. All of my teachers were black. So I didn't
All
like.
black
I didn't
Americans.
feel I didn't feel inferior to whites. I didn't feel inferior to Africans because we were like in Caribbeans. Like we
You
were
don't feel
together. Like
inferior
I
to
don't.
African.
Yes, y'all do.
No,
Y'all,
we
it's
don't.
subconsciously
No,
y'all
we
do.
don't.
Subconsciously y'all do because
This hurting y'all
if you
so
didn't,
bad.
because
If
if you
you
didn't,
didn't, you wouldn't be worried about us
you wouldn't be
delineating.
online dragging Africans
You
all
wouldn't
day
be paying us
long.
no attention then. You wouldn't be paying us no
And I
attention.
agree, with that part,
It
Vovo, and I
hurt
agree with that
you.
part because
It hurt you
I
because we
think
delineating and all this
no,
black
it don't.
culture you thought you had, we snatched it away and said, no, this is our culture. You are African. And now
Yeah, you
now you
tripping.
just a generic
So
African.
again, and this is another thing. This is how I know that a lot of these guys they don't have any understanding of the history, right? When you look at all of the our civil rights leaders, the abolitionists,
Give me
our
my hip hop.
ancestors, they sought solidarity with
Give me my
Africans.
civil rights.
They sought inspiration from the Africans. You understand what I'm saying?
No,
So
they did.
Look at the Black Panther Party. They literally sought inspiration from the Mau Maus of Kenya. You understand what I'm saying? You could look at
Right.
people like Malcolm X, who said, "We are Africans in America." You could look at Martin Luther King, who literally was at the independence ceremony of Ghana. You get what I'm saying? He cried there, and he
Well,
said
Sean,
that
let me ask
he wanted
you
this freedom
Torre.
for his people here in America.
Let me
Sean,
let
let
you
me
in
say
on
this
something.
real quick. Let
So
me say this real
listen, let me
quick.
finish,
Everybody
man.
you mentioned,
Y'all so emotional, man. God
everybody
damn,
you
man. Have
No,
some.
mentioned,
no,
everybody you
let me hear
mentioned,
what I'm
those were
saying real
great
quick,
men.
man.
Those were
What
great men. But they
Jesus
were just
Christ,
men.
man. Bunch
They
of
were
emotional
wrong
men.
about some shit either.
And I
They were
They
guarantee
just
most of
never
these
men.
lived
dudes that's on
around
this, I
Africans.
guarantee most of these
Martin
guys on the
Luther
panel are
King never
older than
lived
me.
around Africans.
Literally older than
Malcolm
me.
X
They
never
have
lived
no.
around
Let's
I
Africans.
be real.
think
They
You
never
I think
lived
said you
around
were
definitely
African.
what
Africans.
makes what
Africans
definitely
came to
I
America
want to
after them men were
I'll
dead.
let you get away get
They
away
had
with
a
the African
fantasy
American
about
They
these
have a
guys.
thing.
psycho
We
You
didn't.
spiritual
have
problem with their dead, with the
About
people,
those
the
guys.
dead people. They need to reconcile with their ancestors, and it's a
We do
psycho
every
spiritual
day.
problem that they
We do
have,
every day.
and
Hey,
it's
hey,
only
hey,
going
hey,
to be
guys,
resolved through ancestral
guys,
worship.
let me pass the mic to man on man. We got
So,
close.
Vovo,
Go ahead, man on man.
Yeah,
why
I
you think we
wasn't
won't
even
shut
finished,
up
but go
about
ahead.
them?
Okay, you got 30 seconds. Now,
Yeah,
man on
why
man.
y'all think we won't shut up about our
He's
ancestors?
not talking.
Jesus Christ.
You got 30 seconds. 30 seconds.
Yeah, so I just wanted to put that out there. A lot of these guys are insecure. They don't know any history. They just come online and just spew a lot of repulsive rhetoric just to get a reaction. I think, there's parts that I agree with Vovo that I think we give them too much attention because again, I did my own social experiment and I asked family members, I asked people within my community, my acquaintances about FBA. No one knows who they are. Zero people know. So I think a lot of the things, and this is for the Africans and Caribbeans that's tuning online and they're getting exposure to these people. These people don't reflect the people that's on the ground. Certain sentiments that they might have,
I gotta
certain
pass the mic.
sentiments that they might
Back up
have.
30 seconds on what he said.
I do want to
pass the
I
mic.
do want to say
Go on, man on
Yeah,
man.
I
can Dino
Yeah,
respond?
I gotta close out, y'all. Man on man, go ahead. I gotta close out.
Stay behind the scenes. Stay behind the scenes.
Man on man. Man oh man. Why you click on the link?
That ain't even a real picture of Shaka Zulu.
All right, we got to close out. Everyone, thanks so much for joining. Like,
They're
share,
behind the
subscribe.
scenes,
And
John.
that's our family. Dynasty Search for Huru. Peace.